So 3, 2, 1.
Three, two, one. Mic check, mic check.
Well, you see some green bars over there?
Let's see. I'm
Da, da, da,
not
da.
seeing.
3,
Wait.
2, 1. On the right side, you see him over there?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, there we go.
Sweet. Welcome, man.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Episode 7 now.
Ep 7?
Ep 7, yeah.
Wow.
We're making
Man,
waves out here in
into
the podcast community.
Yeah, I need to check it out.
So, yeah, this is, let's see, I had Zach and then Koch. Major Cross was in last time.
Major Cross.
Yeah.
He came in.
Yeah, dude, he came into my freaking bedroom.
Jeez. Is cursing allowed, or are we going to
Dude,
bleep that out?
do whatever you want.
Okay.
Do whatever you want. So
Cool.
I started this, I had the idea of this about a year ago, and then just because I know so many cool people with a lot of cool stories and stuff like that, and I
don't
just
know why I'm here then. I can leave. quick podcast. All right.
Yeah, you're my introductory, but and then I got all the equipment for Christmas, and then just never really set it up. But I actually had Bodwin come over a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Yeah, man, it's super simple actually."
Okay.
I had the equipment for like 4 months before I actually figured out how to use it.
But I mean, earlier you were saying he's too flaky.
Yeah, he's too flaky for sure.
Yes.
It's funny because we don't, as you can see, I don't have any like visuals. You know, it's just audio recording.
No, we need like a green screen or something, with some stuff floating behind me.
Yeah.
The camera will come.
Yeah, I agree. I figured that if I ever got good enough at this to where I could, keep making videos, that I could pull out a camera. But for right now, dude, cameras are freaking expensive, man.
Yeah. Was this equipment a lot?
Kind of not really. So the sound interface right there was about $100. Thankfully, I had an Amazon gift card. Shout out to my dad for that.
All right. Did you get that from the what was the little tug of war thing that we did? You use that too?
No. Actually, I might have used that.
All right.
But I did that, and then I bought the microphones. Thankfully, these microphones were like $30 a piece.
That's not bad.
No, and they're pretty good quality.
Yeah.
And then I felt awful because every time I had a guest on, we'd have to hold it by the bass. And it was just super uncomfortable, and it made a loud sound every time that you would switch hands or anything. And so I went and bought these extensions right here, and they came with another microphone. So that was about $250 or something.
Okay.
So all in all, like, it's less than $500 for all this.
Yeah, and it's worth putting some money in, something you enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a lot of fun. I never saw myself doing something like this, but I always kind of wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it gives you an excuse to like learn a little bit more about people.
Exactly.
Because I'll just see you in the hallway and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
and then just take off.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, like I was saying, there's just so many people like you and Koch and Bodwin who've just done a lot that, meeting you just at face value, you'd never know a lot of the things that you've done, or especially Koch.
Right.
I always tell everyone to watch Koch's episode because that dude's done everything in the Army.
Yeah.
But
that dude's smart, man.
Yeah,
he's been
crazy smart.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of reason why I did this, just because I know all these people, but I only know some of the things that they did. Is kind of a way of getting a bit of a deeper connection, a bit more than surface level.
Yeah.
But how's your summer been? What you been up to?
Not shit. No, I did go to France for a week.
Yeah.
The National Guard invited me out for the 81st anniversary of one D-Day and also the Battle of Mortain, which is
yeah.
I don't know if your formation says Rock of Mortain or whatever.
Yeah.
Do y'all say that?
So whenever they only do it in boards and stuff like that, but whenever they call you to attention at the board, you say remember Mortain.
Okay.
Or something like that. Or you say strength and honor, they say remember Mortain.
Okay. Yeah, because the third ID, they say Rock of Marne.
Okay.
And I always thought we were saying Rock of Marne as well, but it's Mortain. It's just a town in France.
Yeah.
So I've always been saying it wrong. But it was a really cool trip. I think it was about a week long.
Was that for the regional best warrior competition that you did?
Yeah. For winning state, obviously I didn't win regionals, but yeah, it was for winning state pretty much.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think the lower enlisted, he wasn't part of the 30th.
Oh no.
So he didn't go with us.
Right.
So it was me, actually, your battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel
Hunt.
Lieutenant Colonel. I'm drawing a blank right now.
It's not Hunt, right?
No. Oh man. Hopefully he's not listening. But, and General Morrison.
Okay.
He's the general for all the maneuvers, MSCs.
Okay.
So.
Right.
Yeah, and he's been there multiple times. He was like our tour guide. They both were amazing to be with the entire time. We did the D-Day anniversary, and then we hung out with then we went to Mortain, which is about 30 miles or so inland.
Okay.
And we kind of hung out with the townspeople. With the mayor. We ate at their house. Then we had a whole ceremony. What was it? Bunch of people, but like 29th Infantry Division had representatives there. We did a whole ceremony one day. But other than that, it was chill. I was only in uniform one day. Very chill trip.
Yeah.
It was nice.
That's pretty sick.
Champagne about every single meal.
Nice.
About tired of champagne. No, I'm not tired of that. Wine and champagne, baguettes and cheese every single meal, pretty much.
That sounds pretty awesome. So what? So you got out there for the best warrior competition. How long were you there?
In France?
Yeah.
I think it was like 7 days, like 5 to 7.
Okay. That's a pretty good amount of time.
Rough estimate, yeah.
All your flights and stuff paid for?
Yeah, everything's paid for. I got
that is awesome.
I got some per diem, and I got paid to be out there.
You got paid to go to France.
I got paid, man. It was all business out there.
That is awesome, dude.
No, it was nice.
Hell yeah!
Nice.
Did you didn't get to visit any other countries or anything though? Just take the train.
Yeah, we landed in just France. We just landed in Paris. Pretty much took off straight to the train station in Paris and went on one of those like really fast. I don't know. It was going like 200 miles per hour.
The bullet train.
It was kind of like a bullet train, yeah. And just went to Normandy, which found out that Normandy is like a whole region in France, not just like I thought it was just one like town at the beach, but it's a whole region.
Okay.
So that's where I spent most of the time. I guess probably 5 days in that region.
That's pretty cool. Was the food good?
Food was phenomenal. I haven't fully got adjusted to the goat cheese. And the cheese, they had really good cheese. But the goat cheese I kind of got used to, but then they just had a lot of very like pungent cheese. Like pungent. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny. So
food was great though.
Yeah, and you're about to leave to Colorado tomorrow?
Yeah,
you're just all over the place.
Wednesday, meeting some buddies who we were in my old squadron 389 together. We spent probably 5 years together.
Okay.
And
is that at Fort Polk?
Yeah, out at Fort Polk. Now Fort Johnson. Who knows what it's going to be? They might find another Fort Polk out there.
Private Polk.
Private Polk. He's out there. Yeah. So we're meeting them in Colorado. Going to climb a mountain out in Breckenridge.
Nice.
Celebrate the 4th. Just chill out. I think I'll get a tattoo out there. That'll
Hell
be
yeah.
cool.
What are you gonna get?
I got. I'm looking at some flash work. I couldn't decide on what I wanted, so I found an artist that I liked. Right. And I'm going to get some of his flash work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any just something random, or you think you got an idea?
Yeah, let's see. I have a picture pulled up here somewhere.
Because I know I've
Yeah, just this little thing right here. This little.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I like this one that he posted. So we'll see how it turns out.
Any significance to the bird, or is that just what suits you?
I was like, oh man, that looks cool. yeah. That's just what suited me at the moment.
Yeah, you got some other ones, don't you? You got the one on your arm.
Pando Commando from the 10th Mountain Division.
Hell yeah.
This old unofficial logo from World War II. And then
Very
I had
cool.
this little random Jefferson airplane little bunny. Oh, can't forget about my stick and poke I did myself.
Oh, no way.
Right here. Boom. See, the cool thing about this one is, I probably already said this before, but this one can transform. It can be either a circle or an oval. So, not too many people's tattoos can do that. So.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Right now, when I'm sitting, this is how I did it. It's a circle. That's what it was meant to be. But when I'm standing up straight, it's an oval now. So it's pretty cool.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
What art?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were the artist.
The artiste. Yeah. No, it was I was it was a high school thing. I was doing some shenanigans. I was just doing some shenanigans.
Yeah.
And we ended up just doing a stick and poke. I thought it would last a month. And here it is, 9 years later.
What popped into your head whenever you thought circle? Let's do a circle.
So I really wanted it to be a planet. So it's going to be a ring with this circle with a little ring around it.
Yeah.
To be like a little planet. But the shenanigans was making me feel a little bit too tired to finish. And I didn't feel like I had the ability to do this ring and make it look good at the moment. So I never got around to finish the ring. But you know what? Out of all the shapes, circles and ovals are probably on my top 5 at least.
What an incredible story. Do you think?
I don't know about that.
Do you think? Were you like a rebellious kid in high school? You think?
Yeah, absolutely. I had no choice but to join the military. I was going to be in the streets. I was going to be camping outside either way.
You grew up in Greenville, right? So which high school did you go to?
So I went to 2. I went to South Central for a year, and then I transferred to Oakwood, which is probably like a mile or 2 miles down the road.
Okay.
Stantonburg Road.
Yeah.
Here. And it's a little college preparatory school. I have to say, proudly the first person I think from the school not to go to college. Right out. I'm in college now, so better late than never.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Joined the Army right out of high school when everyone else was going to college and doing whatever.
What made you not go to college right out of your prep school?
It's kind of I don't know how to put this. It's kind of dumb. No, I was fooling around too much. I always wanted to be in the military. I wanted to go to the Air Force Academy. Actually, like a lot of people, I want to be a pilot.
Yeah,
I thought that would be sick. But the shenanigans.
Yeah.
I started the GPA started dropping.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I pretty much it got so bad I probably couldn't get accepted to anywhere.
Right.
Maybe just community college in
right.
town. So I was like, you know what? I can. I found out about the Flight Warrant Officer program.
Okay.
So I really wanted to go into the Air Force, but as enlisted. Then I found out about the Flight Warrant Officer program.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently they didn't have any high school to flight school slots available. So
right.
I was just like, okay, I'll do. I tried to find something in aviation.
Yeah.
I got in trouble, got kicked out. The shenanigans didn't stop. The Army didn't kick the shenanigans out, at least the first year.
Yeah.
Got kicked out of UAV school, and then
oh my gosh.
I had airborne in my contract, but the only option available was generator mechanic.
Right.
I wasn't too thrilled about doing that. I wanted to do something Army related.
Yeah.
In the military. So I looked. I was like, "What's available for non-airborne?" And Calf Scout was available.
Nice.
So I was a Calf Scout.
Hell yeah.
And rode that out for 7 years.
So nice. So you joined straight out of. How long after you had graduated high school did you enlist?
So I graduated 2016.
Okay.
And I pretty much went to the recruiter's office probably a month or 2 after I graduated.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar to me.
Okay.
So you went to BCT. Where'd you go?
So I went to Fort Jackson.
Okay.
But I got the honor to do basic training pretty much twice because Calf Scout is OSA.
Oh yeah.
So they when I went, they put me into white phase. So I missed red phase. So that's a plus.
Nice.
So I started pretty much in white phase towards the end.
Right.
Then
I didn't even know they could do that.
oh yeah, I was there. I was like, hey guys, what up? And well, it was pretty cool because once they graduate blue phase, and I was just standing over in the side. I'm like, been there. And so we immediately had our flag taken away because we were just we were shenanigan platoon. I think our drill sergeants gave up on us kind of. So we just had a flag stick, and so we were just back to phase like 0. We were just getting fucked up the entire time,
right?
For lack of a better term, because we were just getting in trouble all the time, and we were just we were just used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you do it twice? Did you fail the first time or something, or
no? So the first time, I went to Fort Jackson, didn't have any problems.
Mm-hmm.
Failed UAV school.
So you did that in basic,
or got kicked out of UAV school.
Oh.
It was a combination of I failed a test, and because I got in trouble, they instead of like recycling me, they just kicked me out.
Wow.
Yeah. I had gotten an argument with with cadre. It's a long story, but I guess we're here. If we want to circle back to it, we can. But
yeah.
So once I get kicked out, get reclassed, I go to Benning, and they just put me in a class that had already started.
Right. Since you'd already completed
They were
it.
in white phase, and so they're just like, yeah, you could just go ahead and join
Nice.
these guys in white phase. I'm like, all right.
So you'd already done all that.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, we'll go ahead and send it.
That's awesome.
So we got basically 1.5 basic trainings.
Nice. And then you did fucking OSA. You finished your AIT out at Jackson as well. For your Calf Scout training?
Calf Scout was OSUT was all at Fort Benning.
Oh yeah, right.
Harmony Church area.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And then you got sent straight to Polk.
Yeah, straight to Polk. All the people, there was multiple people who failed their schools in my company or troop.
What kind of schools?
So we had some cyber guys.
Oh.
We had what else? MI stuff like that. And all of the degenerate people got sent to Fort Polk.
Yeah.
We all got sent to. We're like, we know what you're doing. You can't. So we all the degenerates got sent to Fort Polk as they should. As
right.
They should.
Yeah. You earned it.
That is the degenerate place of the Army. No, Fort Polk, I have to say, is not that bad. If you're training there, going there for training, it can be pretty miserable.
Yeah.
But once you kind of get acclimated to not much being around the base, the base itself, I like being at a small base. There's really nothing to do in the immediate area, which does suck. But I enjoyed my time there.
Yeah, I can definitely confirm that going there to train, I did a JRTC rotation in like 2022.
Probably you went in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when National Guard kind of goes through.
Yeah.
So the worst.
It
time
fucking blew.
Yeah.
That was the worst.
Yeah.
I hated it.
If you think the weather is bad right now, it was probably so much worse then, right?
Yeah. That was so I graduated basic training March 31st, 22.
Okay.
And then the first call I had to my line leadership, they're like, "Hey, you're going to JRTC in a month." I was like, "Cool,
perfect."
I'd never even heard of it.
Yeah.
I was literally gone for 6 months, sucking dick out of Benning, and then got
high school. JROTC. What do you mean?
Yeah, for real. I I had no idea what it was. I thought it was going to be like the regular. This is what they always tell you, the 2-week training whenever you join the Guard, which is it's never 2 weeks. But I got out there. That was the first time I'd ever had a heat rash in my life.
Heat rash is nasty.
Yeah, dude, because that was my first time ever carrying plates or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in heat like that. We were in the Bradleys for maybe 3 hours at a time. It was like 130 degrees.
Yeah, I've never really been in Bradley, but
They
never
suck. Don't do it.
want to.
I would. Strikers might be cool, but I would never do Bradleys.
Have you heard the I think good news that 30th is going from a ABCT to a MBCT?
Yeah, dude.
Maneuver Brigade Combat Team, I guess.
Yeah, dude. I heard about that, and that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I guess it's probably similar structure to what the 10th Mountain Division.
Yeah, maybe.
Brigades are like. I don't know.
I don't know, but I feel like it'll definitely. One, I feel like it'll help people get a lot better at movement. Yeah, maneuvers and movements and formations and stuff like that. Because right now it's so. You get so little training, you hop out of the back of a Bradley, and then nobody knows what a formation is because you've just been riding for 2 hours, and that's all you do pretty much until you're on the X.
Yeah.
But I think it'll open people up to
schools.
Yeah, exactly, because we're not allocated anything for being a mechanized unit.
Yeah, so much money goes into maintenance for ABCTs.
Yeah,
they kind of get the short end whatever.
Short end of the stick.
Short end of the stick for funds for going to schools and stuff like that. So I mean, I think that's a big reason why you see a lot more tabs in schools with people in like 82nd.
Yeah, for sure.
All like that.
I agree. So how did you like your time there? I know you said you kind of got acclimated to it, but was it kind of just were you kind of just sitting around a lot, kind of hitting the same spots every day, doing the same training, or?
For let's see. So I got there and they were deployed. So I was on Rear D. Rear D was just kind of a combination of being bored and getting smoked a lot.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I was. Then they got back from deployment. We immediately when they got back from leave, there's this period called Focus Ready, where there's some turmoil going on with North Korea at the time,
right.
And we were going to be the first brigade to get deployed if something happened.
Okay.
So it was kind of every week, and a lot of weekends we didn't have weekends at all, and this was probably 4 or 5 months of just training, going out to the field. Almost it felt like every single week.
Yeah.
And Louisiana, it was from July till July or like till October or something.
Jesus. That sounds awful.
We thought we were going to leave. But we got a lot done. It was a lot of really good training, but it was pretty exhausting. Yeah. It definitely, I don't think, helped retention.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
You're training people into the ground at that point.
Yeah, especially, I feel bad for them because they got back from deployment.
Yeah.
And they had, 2 weeks of leave, and then they were hitting the ground
right back
again.
at it.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Did you ever deploy with them?
No, never deployed. One time the brigade deployed, and I was in SFAS. And another time, I think half the brigade deployed, and our squadron didn't go. Yeah. Yeah, and then there was that time I just got there too late. I was on the list to deploy when I was on rear D, but a lieutenant came from Ranger School, and he basically took my spot.
Were you trying to go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of why everyone wants to join the combat MOS, is at least at first.
Yeah.
Just to get some action over there.
Yeah.
and
you went to Botswana, right?
Yeah. So we were part of. Apparently, it was an active duty contract that got tasked to the National Guard, and so we were pretty lucky to get it. But they were pretty much assembling some sort of coalition between the National Guard and Southern African countries.
Okay.
So and there's Operation Southern Accord, where we pretty much go down there, create relations, and pretty much just teach them all we can. Because by the time we had gotten there, I believe it was, I can't remember how long before we got there, but they had a battle with someone and got absolutely demolished.
Is it like a tribal thing, or?
I have no idea.
Okay, okay.
I really couldn't tell you who it was.
Okay.
But it was not crazy far from where we were, but maybe half a country away. Whatever country was north of us, I can't remember. Might be Zimbabwe. The Zimbabs.
Okay.
But
oh man, I'll pull out a Zen and I'll take a Zen 3 milligram to that. Let's pull up a map first.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
might have been Mogadishu.
Wow, this is now a geography.
Geography lesson.
Yeah, I was like, is it geology?
Geology.
Yeah. Okay, north of there's Namibia. That's a place. I think I probably just butchered that.
Let me
Namibia
see.
is it kind of juts out north of Botswana.
Yeah, it is Zimbabwe.
So
it might have been in there somewhere. I think it was definitely north of where we were, but anyway, they had a battle up there in urban conditions, and apparently just had no idea what they were doing and got just straight up whacked. And
really?
I think they said they lost about half their fighting force.
This is the Botswana
the Botswana Defense Force.
Okay.
So they sent us down there, and we spent about 2 weeks training them on. We started with a show of force, and then a basic tactics, and then it was mostly urban ops after that.
Okay, so were you all training together?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we were fully integrated with them. We only had a platoon of guys against maybe like 200 of them. So a couple of us, maybe like 2 or 3 would go with one or two would go with a squad or something and train up that squad. And dude, it was the coolest thing ever. But
that's nice.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Helps you hone in your tactics.
Absolutely,
well, sure.
Because and dude, I gotta say, it was so cool helping people train and watching people get better, and finally finally understand what you're teaching them. But dude, I didn't feel safe a lot of the times that we were training.
Really?
Just because I will say I didn't feel safe on the first day because the first day was the only day that we had live rounds. And we were like I said, we were fully integrated with them to the point that everyone was a safety for each lane. So after we were doing reflective fire, and we went up and showed them what we do, and they're like, okay, it's our turn now. And they got these big ass scars. Some of them got scars, some of them got Uzis,
really?
And someone had a Mark 42, and dude, just giant guns out there. And we pretty much showed them, here's reflexive fire, just pivot, point, shoot. Yeah. And dude, we decided not to do the pivot because
pivot's a lot.
We decided not to do the pivot, just draw and shoot. Yeah. And and man, dude, I felt so unsafe, man, because they had a fully loaded scar, and it was 3 inches from my face most of the time. And whenever they were shooting, they finished their rounds or whatever. We gave them like 10 rounds in 4 different blocks, and they'd back up each time. And every single time that he would back up to go to his he'd turn his whole barrel at my face, and then I about freaking slammed this dude on the ground at least 8 times. Yeah. And I even got it on video because I wanted to just have a cool video of him because he was shooting my weapon. Yeah. And But as soon as he dropped that magazine, he just turned that thing right at my face. I was like, "Get the fuck away!" Like, what are you doing? Yeah, I was. It was a little scary, but they eventually got it, and then we got to shoot their weapons, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
We got to shoot the scars and the Uzi and the.
Sick.
We have my team leader who went with us. He's a Marine machine gunner, and so he did that for like 6 years.
Yeah,
and
so he's good with it.
yeah, he knows his way. So he was the only one that they let shoot the Mark 42, and he just like straight stood up and walked with it.
Mark 42. That's like is that a 7.62?
Yeah, it's a exactly.
Okay.
It's like a saw with 7.62 pretty much.
Oh, kind of a beefy
Yeah.
saw. Okay,
dude,
that's cool.
It is cool. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But it was a cool experience. It was the first time I ever got to go abroad
get
with
that?
you. Huh?
I wonder how they got those.
Yeah. I have no idea, but it's apparently supposed to be a continuing thing. Every other year they're going to be sending people out there. So this year, because it's with all Southern African countries. I think Zimbabwe's in there, South Africa's in there.
Cool.
But so this year they're going to Georgia for AT, but next year they're going back.
Georgia to AT. I know there was their thing called XETC.
Yeah.
I think it got canceled, and they're doing, or at least
at Stewart.
Yeah, so I know my company is still going to Stewart, and they're just running Roll 2 operations, like maybe some mass cow operations, but they're still going to deploy. But from my understanding, the budget got cut. And
really?
Yeah.
Just for the deployment?
Just for XETC. I think they're still deploying.
Right. Well, is it because of the deployment, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. That I don't know. But it's interesting. I feel like you would need some sort of XETC.
Yeah, you'd need
JRTC. I don't know.
some sort of training before you go out there. They're going to be gone for a year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where they're going, but
they're going to Kuwait.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Like Syria or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think anybody's excited about it. Are you glad you got away from that? Because you would have definitely went, right?
Yeah, it depends, and this is kind of how I felt towards the end of my active duty career. It's like I would love to deploy, but what are we doing?
Exactly.
Am I contributing to anything?
Yep.
And so that's a big reason why I kind of went towards the medical side and nursing side, because regardless of the state of the military, you're still going to be doing your job. So that was kind of a big reason why I decided to do that, because you don't want to just be stagnant in life.
Yeah.
You just wonder what am I doing? What is this going towards? So there's a lot of obviously everyone serves a huge purpose for the military, but that's kind of why I changed what I was doing.
Yeah, I agree that it's one thing. It's one thing if we dropped, or it's one thing if Iran tried to freaking send a nuke over to Florida right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or something like that, and then they're like, "All right, everyone's going.
Yeah.
Pick up your shit. We're leaving now."
Right.
It would be one thing.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to go to Kuwait. I don't really want to just do mass cows for 9 months straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right now, our I kind of like our purpose is getting through college so we can get to that leadership job, become an officer. I think once you get there, more opportunities will be available.
I think so too. I think you're on the same page, maybe with me as this, but with everything popping off with Iran, it was always my plan before, but I really need to just get to my unit so I can get ready for selection.
Yeah.
And just try out at least.
Yeah. You'll be that's definitely a good plan. And you obviously crushed it on the ACFT. So man, I was definitely a bit jealous. I'm like, 600. I've always been like several points away from 600, just never gotten it, but that's badass, man. So that's a great place to start. And obviously someone who went to selection, I recommend just getting good with land nav, because if you go as an officer, you'll probably have. I imagine you would want to do Ranger school before. I mean, it depends.
Yeah,
not
at
all
least try. Yeah,
their tab, but
you'd definitely be more respected if you showed up with it, though.
Definitely. I think even the tabbed officers, probably they failed land nav more than any other task.
Really?
With Ranger tabs.
Mm-hmm.
So they are probably very good and competent at land nav, but it gets a lot of people.
Yeah.
So a lot of people crushed it, especially 18 X-rays.
Yeah.
Because they specifically prepare you for
mm-hmm.
that. But I say, like, obviously the 600's good. I mean, just getting used to weight on your back. But
yeah,
I
sure.
think you'll definitely be a good fit for that community.
I was telling Laurel earlier, just because me and you are kind of in that same boat of what we want to do later, and we're both nursing majors. So I was telling her that every time I go see Captain Delgado, and he's always like, he's giving you your assessment. He's like, "What do you want to do in the Army?" I'm like, "Well, as soon as I get in my, I want to try for selection." He's like, "You and Owen, man." He's like, "What is wrong with you guys?"
I didn't say anything about selection to him. What was it?
He was like, "You and Owen want to go kick down doors and stuff." He was like, "Y'all are nurses." He's like, "Go be nurses."
Yeah. Which I definitely do. I definitely do want to. Yeah, that's weird. I didn't mention anything to him about that, but maybe just knew my background.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. But yeah. We had medical doctors in our selection class.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, I think nursing's you're going to learn a lot from nursing school, and that's something you can also bring to the table. Obviously, you can't practice
right
as a 18 alpha,
mm-hmm.
but that's a lot of knowledge that you can bring to the table, and you'll understand the standpoint from like the 18 deltas that you'd work with. So yeah,
that certainly would be cool. When I'm assuming you went while you were during your time at Polk. What time did you actually go to selection? What was the train up like for that?
So they had a single recruiter on base. I went to him and I told him I was interested in it, and he was like, "Yeah, let's get you a date." And it was pretty much like, I think, a month or two out. And I should have, of course, they're just trying to push.
Right.
They're trying to push people.
Yeah.
I passed the standards that they needed, that he needed to send me. I got my.
What were the standards? Just out of curiosity.
I think we did a PT test and maybe like a 12-mile ruck, and just basic like water survival, like swim across a pool and back in uniform.
Yeah.
Something easy like that. That was pretty much it. I didn't do any land nav training beforehand.
Nice.
which was a mistake. I had just gotten my expert soldier badge, and
nice.
I thought I was hot shit with land nav. I'm like, I found 4 points that were at most 1 kilometer away.
Yeah.
I can find anything in the woods. I'm the top G of land nav, but I found out that I was horrible at land nav out there.
Yeah.
And the points were correcting, or no, they were not correcting.
They were not self-correcting
at ESP. But so you do get a train up at selection. So you will get basic fundamentals of land nav while you're out there.
Mm-hmm. Is it pre or is it during?
This is during selection.
Okay.
So this is you've already passed your like the first like physical assessment week.
Mm-hmm.
So which consists sorry, my storytelling is going to be from A to, it's not from A to B, it's A to G to,
it's all good, man.
Whatever. So the first week is like your physical assessment. You have like PT test,
mm-hmm.
which is push up. I don't know what it is. Obviously, this was like, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
but it was push-ups, sit-ups, 2-mile run, and pull-ups.
Okay.
There's no standard that was released. You don't know what's the minimum.
Right.
I guess there's no maximum. And from there, we did it's all mystery. You don't know what the events are, but they'll tell you your what if you need your ruck and your uniform. They'll post it on a board. And so it was, I think we guessed about a 7-mile ruck after the day after the PT test.
Mm-hmm.
The next day was I think a 12-mile ruck.
Mm-hmm.
Day after that was a 4-mile run, and then the day after that was an 8-mile run. Then there's like a SF PT test or SF combat PT test.
Okay.
It was like a 300-pound sled pull.
Oh man.
I think it was I could be wrong. Is like 50 meters down and back.
That's crazy.
Then it was like a tire flip, 50 meters down and back. Some 3 to 5 second rushes.
Yeah.
It was a Mark 19 can filled with sand or something like that.
Nice.
Like about 50 meters down and back. And then a rescue Randy carry.
Yeah.
It was about 200 pounds down and back. And that was the test. It was a smoker.
Yeah.
Smoker.
That sounds like it.
But
was it just timed?
Yeah, it was timed. It was timed. And during this, I didn't get smoked at all.
Okay.
Like besides the events.
Right.
And so there's a physical. Okay, and the last day of this week is the obstacle course.
Okay.
But during this first week, so those physical events are all in the morning. In the afternoon, it's all like IQ tests, psych tests, and then they have like some land nav training.
Right.
Getting decent sleep, it's like I think probably about 4 hours or so a night, which isn't bad. I was still sitting there, bobbing for wieners in the classroom. That was a coin turned by Cameron Bell, one of my buddies, bobbing for dicks. But no, we were that's just pretty much how the days were going, and we would like do details like picking weeds, just random stuff.
Oh, so like
it was during August.
just landscapers.
Yeah. It was the cadre didn't really talk to us much. Just they would just give us some.
Did you give you a block of instruction? Just go.
Block of instruction, and then leave it to us.
That's
and
crazy.
While we were picking weeds and stuff, they would go around and take your roster number if they saw you not picking weeds and stuff like that. So you were definitely getting watched at all times.
Yeah.
But they would also leave you alone.
Well, I'm sure that's really interesting because that's a really good way of testing someone's involvement during just basic tasks, seeing how good of a team player they are. That's a really good, just kind of a psyche eval based on your personality and your work ethic.
Yeah,
this is really. I never thought about
that. Yeah. My issue, I had my roster number taken a couple times, and that was for my two quart canteens were always leak. They had a leak in them, and they were if they saw water by your ruck, they would take down your name.
Water by your ruck.
And if you weren't topped off, when if it wasn't like directly after a ruck and you weren't topped off, they could take your number.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and if your ruck was light, at any point, if they could check your ruck at any point. You're out. You're just out of the course completely.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I knew buddies that were in the course who were just studs, crushing it, and they missed one weigh in. Like they were low on one weigh in and just booted out.
Wow.
Yeah.
They don't get a chance to put any rocks or something in there.
You do, but you're kind of just going off the packing list. Like sometimes, like I guess they might have just forgotten to put like a couple things in that they are used to, and they just slipped their mind. And
that's crazy.
You have to be in it.
Yeah.
At any given moment.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how long does that go on for?
So the first week is like I said, the physical week. Then it transfers into land nav. You take a bus out to this land nav.
This is
site.
all on Bragg though, right?
Yeah, it's called Camp McCall.
Right.
I'm pretty certain this is all people have already talked about anything you can do in selection on whatever podcast is out there.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still on Camp McCall, but you take a bus out to the land nav site, and then you get, I think, 3 days of train up for just you start small, like close points, and then kind of work your way out, and then finally there's 2 days of testing, and so I think the max you can find is 8 points in those 2 days.
What was your longest point?
I want to say it was probably like 16 kilometers. It was
nice.
It was pretty far.
That's fucking like 9. That's like 10 miles.
Yeah. It was pretty far. I know it was about as far. It was as far south that you can go in the training areas where I started. Everyone starts at a different point. Well, they split you up into groups, and your groups go through the training area. And I started at the very, as far as you can go south, and my first point was as far as you can go north, pretty much, just almost opposite side of the training area. And yeah, it was far, and that was the second day. The first day I ended up losing my map and scorecard in a draw. And so, it's a bummer. So I pretty much from there I knew I couldn't pass with just getting even if I got all 4. The second day I might have had a chance, but I only found 2 on the second day, so it wasn't it.
Right. Damn. I've heard those draws or something else.
Yeah.
They say people
they have a lot of controlled burns. Through there, but that really only affects the high grounds. Not it's still pretty dense in the low ground. But yeah, and also you can't use trails or roads. If you're found walking alongside the trail, like within 50 meters of a trail, or there is, when I say road, it's just like a dirt road.
Right.
If you're found walking alongside that within 50 meters, you're pretty much eliminated from the course.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's lame.
But yeah, people. It really tests your ability to land out, but you can still handrail the road within 50 meters.
Yeah.
So there is that.
But land nav is what got you though.
Land nav's what got me.
Did you have any friends that made it all the way through?
Yeah, I did. I had a buddy. He was actually a recruiter at the time. I think he was motivated by not wanting to be a recruiter anymore.
That's fair.
He made it. My best buddy, he failed land nav with me, but he went back, and he got it. He got like a couple month turnaround, and he went back. And he got it.
Nice.
Yeah. He did it during the winter time in like January.
Oh, that's got to be nice.
Yeah, he said as for the weather sucked, but once you're moving, it was nice. And also for land nav purposes, it was a lot better during that time, just because the foliage was a lot more clear.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We went. In August.
No.
So yeah.
Dude.
It was. I don't know. A lot of poor decisions in my military career, but I was just ready to go. I was ready to do it.
I get that.
Yeah.
What did you ever think about going again, or?
Yeah, I did. But I kind of, I wanted to do a billion different things. I started working on my flight physical, and I went more towards that route, and I had my packet together, I had everything together, but I couldn't submit it because I was in my last year, and you have to have 1 year stability to just to submit your packet, and I was like, I'll re-enlist once I know I'll re-enlist because it's a 10-year contract.
Yeah.
Once I know I get accepted,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just not how it works. So I was ready to get out at the time, so that's kind of what brought me here.
Mm-hmm. How long were you out before you got back in the guard?
I immediately.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just went straight to the guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you have to do like a reclass school or
Yeah,
MOSQ?
reclass school. So I got out November, and then the reclass school was supposed to be in February of, I guess, last year, and so I deferred enrollment for spring semester, and then the slots filled up for the school, so they had to push it to this summertime. So I could have still gone to school.
Right.
It worked out. It worked out fine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did it over the summertime. The medic reclass.
How have you enjoyed the dynamic of the guard? Because most active duty guys that I know really just shit on the guard, but I think it's fun. At least they may not be straight up killers, but a lot of people are pretty high speed. But what do you think transitioning?
I think the guard does well with the time it has available. I kind of learned that the guard has to train to time, rather like we end up making it the standard, but the guard has to train to time.
Mm-hmm.
The units only get 2 days out of the month, so you just have to deal with that, and a lot of it I know in my unit goes towards maintenance and administrative stuff. So unfortunately we're not able to get these the training that we really need to, and I guess that could go into planning. I still haven't fully learned, because half of my time I've been in the guard, I was training for this best warrior stuff, so still haven't really learned it. I think the guard definitely is important. We need the guard. Active duty is a little bit more is more competent, but the guard is a great place, great opportunity. There's a lot of good resources you can get from it. I think the guard is pretty good.
Did you ever think about going to selection through the guard?
I did. Yeah. Once I was doing the medic course, I really enjoyed everything we were learning. I was thinking, what's the next step that I could do? I was like, I wanted to do special forces, so I thought 18 Delta would be a good option.
Yeah.
And then once I still was iffy about doing ROTC. I didn't know if I was going to do ROTC or not. And so I started it, and once I began it, I've been pretty impressed, and I realized I just wanted to do nursing right now. Yeah,
that's cool. What did kind of transition you into ROTC? Did you ever think of going to college in the first place, or did you ever think of becoming an officer, especially?
Yeah, well, I wanted to do physical therapy initially. So that's why I did want to be a physical therapy officer. So that's why I started talking to the ROTC program at EC. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I know I wanted to be a physical therapist, and I thought that I could do that in the guard. And so I was like, let me get my feet wet and change MOSs to 68 whiskey. And so once I did 68 whiskey, it kind of changed everything, and I think being a nurse would be better for me. And really, once I found out about the nursing, like direct scholarship, or not scholarship because I can't get the scholarship, but
right,
you could directly commission to being a nurse. So that appealed to me. That's kind of why I really went to ROTC.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I kind of like. I know whenever I first started, I was never thinking about doing anything, becoming of an officer.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the program. It's super gay a lot of the time. And we do a lot of lame stuff, but there's so many cool people in there, dude. And I guess you end up better for it at the end, you know?
Yeah, I've been impressed. Like it's ran by the cadets, and for people who don't have any really leadership experience to take charge and like, you know, I saw, you know, Kerrigan and all the MS4s that were leading, and I was just impressed with them. Harrelson, I mean, I could list everyone, and I was like, wow, these people are younger than me, and they're, you know, seemingly way more competent at leading than I ever was. So I was like, they're doing good. Obviously, it can kind of be like, was it Land of the Flies?
Yeah.
What's
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so it's just, you know, kind of kids leading kids.
Yeah.
But everyone does well.
Did you learn all of your leadership from Sergeant Whiziker's class?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'll leave that one. I don't know who listens. Cut it. I don't know if he's a listener to the podcast.
No, I don't.
Listener.
I don't even think he knows it exists.
Okay.
I know Major Cross told Lieutenant Colonel Newsom about it.
Yeah.
So maybe he knows. I don't know. I doubt it. But
we might have to.
Got it.
Yes. No, I learned everything that I know from class.
When I think of leadership, I think of Master Whiziker.
Yes. That's exactly what I was about to say.
You know, he's actually going to Sergeant Major school right now.
So he's going to the academy.
Yeah.
Okay. I know he is going to do he was doing the online portion. I didn't know if when he was shipping off to that.
Yeah.
Or if he'll be there next semester.
Surely not, right?
We'll see. Depending on, yeah, we might have to do some skimming of the podcast. He is not. I show up there and he's like, oh, and
well, thankfully you'll be in the 3 class by then.
I'll be a big old 3. Oh yeah, future assistant S1 in the house. Under
oh my gosh,
fearless Hiley.
Yeah. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I guess I'm assistant S1.
S1 doesn't even do anything.
Perfect. Accountability. What are you talking about? Make sure that all 15 people show up to PT in the morning.
Dude, PT numbers are getting rough there towards the end of the semester.
Yeah, I was shocked at how many people started. I didn't realize how many people were going to be part of ROTC, and
we got like 180 or something, right?
By the end, there were some PTs where it was low on the numbers. Yeah. I don't know what's the best solution for that.
Here's what I think. I think if you miss more than 5 PTs in a semester, you don't show up ever again.
You're saying, like,
I think if you're not excused and you miss more than 5 PTs,
whether you're contracted or not.
No,
or
contracted. I don't think you should have to if you're
okay.
If you're not contracted. I don't think you need to be there.
Okay,
you can do whatever. But if you're contracted,
not shown up.
If you're contracted and you don't show up for 5 days out of the semester, dropped.
I can agree with that.
That's what I would do.
It's in your contract.
Yeah, that's what you're here for.
And if I get it, if you're overwhelmed with classes and stuff like that, but they need to communicate.
Dude,
that. I don't know.
I better not hear anyone complain about class schedules, dude.
Yeah, your schedule's rough. You're working.
It was 4 full days of school, so I was taking 16 credit hours.
Yeah.
And then I had an 8-hour shift on Friday and 2 17-hour shifts Saturday and Sunday, and then right back into school. And with PT Monday through Thursday, dude, that was miserable. I don't want to hear anyone talking about their schedule and how they're tired and shit. I was always tired.
I was only doing school, and I was school, and I'd miss, I think, a week of school because of the best warrior competitions in each semester. And even then, I was like, oh man, I'm missing a week. I can't do this shit.
Well, you had some heavy classes. You had we got anatomy 2 last semester, right?
I had anatomy 1.
Oh yeah.
It was tough. But yeah, it was. The professor worked with me a little bit.
That's cool.
Yeah,
it sucks when they're dicks about it.
Was that?
It sucks when they're dicks about you leaving.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a disconnect. I was asking for a little bit of an extension at the end. Unfortunately, like y'all, because you had your Ranger, was it Ranger
the
Challenge?
Sandhurst, yeah.
But mine was like a week before finals, and so she couldn't accept work past a certain time.
Right.
So, and I asked her if I could turn in some work during like the finals week, and she wouldn't let me do that. So
damn,
it is what it is. It turned out fine. I was hoping for all A's. I think I got an A in the lab, and I ended up with a B in lecture. Hopefully, for anatomy 2, we can get 2 A's for that.
Yeah, you're doing it at ECU, right?
Yeah, ECU.
Dude, I hated anatomy.
You had to do that over the summer too, right?
Yeah, dude, I did anatomy 1 lab. I did psychology, or introductory psychology, developmental psychology. I did introduction to dance, and I did statistics, all in one summer. I did all of that in one summer, working full time.
That's like a regular semester.
Yeah, I took 16 credit hours during the summer.
You split it up between the 5 weeks.
Not anatomy. Anatomy was the whole 10 weeks.
Yeah, and of course, regular semester is 16 weeks, and I can't imagine that being shorter than it was.
It sucked.
Yeah,
it was 2 hours of classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So, and it was 2 hours straight, not like 8 to 10 every day.
Yeah,
and it was the worst. I had to file a complaint on my anatomy professor.
Yeah, a little turd. He wasn't. What was the situation? What happened?
I was leaving early because I had work every day.
Yeah,
and I had so much shit to do, and so I would come in, I'd sign the sheet, I'd stay in class for a little bit, write some notes, and I'd leave. And then I did it for a couple of weeks, and he started making jabs at me in class.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever, he's probably, maybe he's not talking about me. And then it got to the point where I got up one day. He's like, you're being a huge disruption in my class. He was like, you are such a nuisance to me and the rest of the people in this class. And I was like, sir, I think that you're making a bigger distraction right now than me leaving. And he's like, maybe you're right. And so he's like, but sit back down. So I sat back down. He's like, now you can leave. Yeah.
Oh, he's all about power.
He sat me down to berate me, and then he's like, now you can leave. And then, so, dude, I was so pissed. I went home that day, and I called my dad. I was like, is there anything I can do about this dickhead of a teacher?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you can file a complaint. I was like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would do anything. I went and filed a complaint and wrote a long ass lecture about what had happened, and then I sent it, and I saved the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way anyone's gonna respond to this. No one's gonna listen.
Yeah.
So I went online and I found the emails of 5 human resources directors and a dean of the college.
Yeah.
I CC'd them all in the same email and posted exactly what I written in my complaint. And then by the time I'd woken up, it had gotten sent from those 6 people. I only found the dean of arts. So I sent it to him. He sent it to the dean of sciences, and then he sent it to the supervisor of my professor, who was in class the next morning.
Jeez, causing a ruckus at PCC.
Reading my letter to him, like in person, as people were filing into class.
Interesting.
And it was so bad, and because not only was I only allotted 8 weeks, but I had about 10 weeks. I had about 8 weeks because I left for Botswana at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the full time. So I had to take my exam 4, my final exam, and my final practical all in one day. And I was losing my shit. I was studying like a madman.
Yeah.
Plus I got 14 other credits of school to worry about, you know.
Yeah.
I was just losing my mind. And by the time I had gotten there, he was pretty much just saying, he's like, give the kid a break. He's like, he's getting sent away to another country here in a couple weeks. He's like, just let him leave. He said the sheet that you're requiring for attendance is not even required at Pitt.
Yeah.
He said Pitt does not require attendance to any classes.
Yeah, he's lucky that you're even showing up.
He said what you're doing is completely against policy.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to stop this right now, and he said you're gonna start letting this kid leave class.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank God.
Yeah. Do you ever reach out to him or like email him or talk to him one-on-one, or was he just kind of a dickhead and you're like, I don't even want to communicate with this guy?
No, man, because every time I tried to talk to him, he'd just belittle me.
Yeah.
He'd talk to me like I was a child, and he'd do it because he wouldn't talk to me outside of class. He wouldn't email me or anything.
Yeah.
I think I emailed him a few times, and he just didn't respond to me.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just sent like a half-assed response. He'd do everything in front of people, in front of the whole class. He'd shit-talk me to everyone. And then I was like, dude, I'm done with this. Like, and then so the reason I was so pissed was because I thought that he was saying that I was a bad student, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
And because Zach, so I had my 2-hour class, and then Zach had anatomy 2 with him. So he had 2 hours of Zach after he had class with me. And
Zach was going to class like, different guy.
He said that Zach said he left the grades on the board one day, and that I had the highest grade in the class.
Yeah.
He said that I was the only one on the screen who had even passed
Let's go.
the only one who had even passed the exam that we just took. So I finished that day out. I took my exam 4, final exam, and my practical 2, and I think I got an A on all of them. Finished the class with an A.
That's the best way to shit talk, is just performing better than everyone else.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing to do physically, when someone's running their mouth like at the ACFT or something, and then you just fucking wreck them.
Yeah, you're like, just watch.
Just wait.
I'll be there. I'll see you.
I'll see you at the finish line.
Yeah.
You know, I forgot to tell you. I can't shit talk anyone about air assault though. I got dropped a couple days ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I showed up to West Point on the 18th.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Okay, I just saw your girlfriend at Buffalo Wild Wings a couple days. She said you were at West Point for that. Okay.
Yeah, no.
I forgot about that conversation. Okay. So
yeah,
go ahead.
She was saying how she saw you. That showed up at the 18th. Did my negative day 3 to day 0. Started that. Did good on the 6 mile. Mm-hmm. The 6 mile was fucking horrible, by the way. I don't know if you've ever been to West Point.
Yeah,
but
I have.
It's literally all uphill.
Yeah, it's mountain. Yeah, it's
yeah.
mountains there.
Yeah,
full mountains.
But we got to sling loads, man. I aced the exam. Yeah. I think I missed one question on the exam, and then I couldn't get the Humvee practical got me.
That's kind of silly about military schools that. I know you get a second attempt at things,
mm-hmm.
But just one little thing, you can be competent at all of these other tasks, and you slip up on one thing, and you're just like, okay, you're not you're not good.
You're
enough
not competent enough to
you're
get
not good
this.
enough to be to do air assault.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, air assault's not going anywhere. It's you probably still learned a lot. You know as much as everyone else there right now. You missed one question on the exam, so it's like you're smart enough. But that's crazy. I think that's kind of silly how they have that structured. But
it blew my mind, man, because, and I get it, you know, everyone has the same standard.
Yeah.
But dude, it was like 2 minutes to check this stupid Humvee.
It's quick. It's quick.
I knew every deficiency. I guess I was running through real fast, and
Yeah.
I missed like one thing
They
that I
can
probably would have found if I had more time.
Yeah.
But
They can really hide some stuff.
yeah, dude, for real.
Yeah. I was lucky enough. I did sling load inspector course before I did aerosol.
Slick.
Yeah, slick. So I did that before I went to aerosol, and so slick, I think you had 5 minutes, but you had to fill out a form
Oh,
while you're doing it, and so it was. I thought it was a little bit harder, in that aspect, but it was, I think, 2 weeks of just learning sling loads.
really?
So it was harder, but you also, it's more in depth.
Mm-hmm.
So once I went to aerosol, I'd already done all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to fill out the form, and the form is like half the time. And so once I still almost busted time on the A22
Cargo bag. Yeah.
But luckily I found it was a twist that it hid behind another strap.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily I found it last moment, and yeah, but it's just something easy as that. I mean, it was probably 5 seconds I had left, and it's something like that. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped 100 people for sling loads that day.
Yeah.
They were they do the first try and then you get the retest.
Mm-hmm.
The first try they failed over 200 people. And
That's a lot.
Then the second, so 55 people were first time go.
Yeah, that's definitely more people that then got kicked out of my course, or like no go the first time.
It was insane. Because we were Air Assault 2, they had just graduated Air Assault 1.
Okay.
And Air Assault 1 apparently failed 65 on sling loads.
Yeah.
And apparently the colonel who was in charge was super pissed. They're like, this many people shouldn't be failing this. Like, you guys are just giving bullshit deficiencies. And then we show up. It's like 40 more people that failed. It was insane. It was fun, though. Like you said, I feel like I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Just doing it.
That's a good mentality to have, man. Like that, as long as you get something out of it. Like I mentioned, I've already talked about a bunch of stuff that I failed.
Yeah.
Over. I mean, as long as you're still going back and trying to do the things that you want to do, you're good, man. You're good. I mean, it's nothing. It's definitely not harder than any college course or like you said, you're working, doing all this stuff. It's nothing harder that you've done before. Right. It's just a silly little, like, a castellated nut. It's like turned a different way, or they used not 100-mile-per-hour tape, but they used
1/4-inch cotton webbing.
Yeah, instead of 1/4-inch cotton webbing, they used 550 cord, something like that.
I definitely had a good time. I'm glad I went, and I did learn some things. I met some cool people.
Yeah.
I met probably one of the funniest dudes I've ever met in my life.
Sick.
Shout out Wes Yateman if you ever hear this.
Wes Yateman.
Yeah, dude.
Come through Greenville, Wes.
He's a West Pointer, and he showed up, and he passed one sling load, failed the other 3, and then we were sitting in the retest area, and he was like, dude. He's like, it's because I'm not locked in.
I forgot to get locked in. That's what I was doing wrong.
He was like, dude, you're not tracking game mode. He said that maybe 100 times, and I about died laughing. He was so fucking funny, and he passed. He got all 3 of them right on this retest.
Some people can just like skate through, not skate through, but they can just almost fail everything.
Yeah,
they'll just rebound.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's a rebound king. What was his name?
Wes Yateman.
Wes Yateman, the rebound king. Come on, man. That's sick. That's good for him.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do. Was it only the Humvee?
So I missed the cargo bag, but I only missed the cargo bag because I turned the
5K or
the
A22.
So the A22 cargo bag.
Okay.
But I only missed it because I didn't turn the clevis upright.
Okay.
So they had all the things in the wrong order, the straps. since I turned it
The routing.
since I turned it upside down, it was correct. So if I would have turned it the right way, they would have all been out of order. So that was the only thing that I missed on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of sucks, but it's whatever. They actually graduate tomorrow morning after the 12 mile.
Okay.
I do not envy whoever does the 12 mile, man.
I can't imagine what route they would do.
It was so bad.
Because you were there, Sandhurst, so you would know about that.
That was the worst. The Sandhurst was the worst ruck period I've ever done.
I imagine.
I told people I'd rather do the Norwegian ruck that I did rather than that.
Yeah.
Because I got my little Norwegian badge over there. I haven't put on my uniform yet.
Sick.
But that sucked. You know, that I was hurting after that. And I would much rather have done that route than the 8 mile that we did for West Point.
Yeah, I know. I think I did the Gaffby out there, and we had to do a 7 miler, and that was pretty tough. They found a very reasonable course for us.
Mm-hmm.
It was still, but that was still probably the most hilliest course that I've ever done.
Yeah, so we did the 6 mile, and you ran down this one spot, you run back, and then you run around. At this point, you're maybe like 4.5 miles or something like that. So you're almost done. But dude, that last mile and a half is literally straight uphill.
So were you at the camp? Is by a lake? I forgot the name of the camp.
It's like South Dock.
Yeah, it's kind of like on a mountain, but there's a lake, a small lake, and that's where they have their CST at.
Oh.
Is that where you were at for air assault, or?
No. So I don't think so, because we're
on the campus.
We're on campus, but so if you go down the steps by one of the dorms, you literally show up at the dock where they do all their sling loads at.
Yeah.
It's right next to the Hudson.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, because
I think I know around where you're talking about there.
That's where they had the air assault when I was over there.
Okay.
I was a cadre for CST.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like their CST?
Yeah, for their CST. Yeah.
That's cool.
Teaching patrol lanes, which I didn't know, like the infantry, like the ranger, because I don't know. I guess we just never really went over that stuff.
Mm.
But they had SFAB there, and we just kind of went over Battle Drill 1 Alpha and crossing an LDA, stuff like that. I think those are the 2 classes that I taught. And I had just learned it like 2 months, because we had our own. We learned how to cross LDAs, at our unit. But there's a little bit different, like we had our unit standard that we did it. It was a little bit different than like the regular infantry standard. So, but there's a bunch of different ways to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
How's the weather over there?
So we showed up, and it was extremely humid. It's still not as bad as North Carolina, but it was a little humid, and then it was almost like the opposite of North Carolina, because whenever it rained, the air cleared up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was super weird, because it rained heavy the night before, and we got back outside, and the air was so crisp. Like, I felt like I could run forever.
For sure.
And so it felt nice the last few days I was there.
Yeah.
But it was tough.
I really enjoy it over there.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful area.
I agree. So my buddy Austin, who drove me to the train station a couple of days ago, I was just telling him, I was like, dude, it's like y'all live in a freaking prison, but dude, it's beautiful out here. It's right on the Hudson.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
One of my friends was telling me that he says a lot of them don't like to say where they're from. They don't, or at least they don't like to tell people they're West Pointers.
Oh,
so
okay.
if they go to training or another school or something, so they'll tell people they're from the South Hudson Institute of Technology.
Oh yeah,
the shit acronym. I thought that was pretty
Classic.
good. But how come they pulled you guys for cadre?
So brigades rotate in, like it could be like the 82nd. Any division can go there and be cadre. Just like probably you'll see in CST, there's probably a random brigade out there who's going to be cadre for you over in Kentucky. So,
dude,
yeah,
I don't want to do that. That sounds so lame.
What? Just going out for
Yeah.
CST?
Dude, That sounds so lame.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not too dumb. I mean, I don't know. You've done basic training, so you've been through it before. But the weather's probably not going to be very fun right now.
No, certainly not.
But you'll crush it though. I mean, I think if you have you studied up for it or anything like that?
I mean, no, not really.
Facts. Facts.
I mean,
all right.
I mean, I was spending most of the time getting ready for air assault, like sling loads and everything.
Yeah.
So I didn't spend much time on battle drills or anything. But that's really the only thing that I would probably freshen up on. I mean, can't really freshen up for the PT test more than I have, and land nav. I mean,
that's the most important thing. It sounds like just getting a high PT score.
Yeah,
and at least for pass fail.
Yeah, it just sounds so lame, dude. It just so Harrelson's there right now. As like cadre,
and Reyes.
Yeah,
Reyes is too.
And Fung, I believe. Someone told me Fung was there.
Actually, saw oh crap, I can't think of his name. Who's the BC or last BC? He was a cheerleader. So.
Smedley.
I saw Smedley last night. Actually, I was chilling at a pool, having some beers with some bros, and he was just going to the gym at this apartment complex.
Huh.
So, yeah.
Cool. Was that at, like at the Prox?
It was the Madison.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot he lived at the Madison.
Yeah.
I was there. I was at his birthday party last year. He had a pretty cool birthday party. Kerrigan and Robbins and me and Zach and Gina were there. It was pretty
cheerleaders.
I think there were plenty of cheerleaders there.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool though. I just don't want to. I'd rather do anything other than CSC. I think I'd rather work 80 hours a week than go to CSC.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah.
But anyway, Harrelson's there right now, and they say that he's literally just putting in data.
Yeah.
For all of the data points for all of the cadets. So he's in control of a regiment, or he's responsible for putting in their data. So every time they do a PT test, marksmanship, grenades, whatever, he's got to enter in the number for each individual person.
Yeah.
And that, I think I would kill myself if I had that job.
And that's why we do this.
Yeah.
This is the goal. The end goal.
Yeah.
Of being an officer.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah, putting data. Smiley showed me a picture of him. He had face paint. He was covered in face paint.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, why is he? Why? Imagine him putting in data. He's
covered in face paint.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. So they're going to be roommates down in Rucker.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's sick. That's sick. Having someone that you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially aviation, Bullock. 2 years long. Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Where is that?
Alabama. Yeah. I don't know what part of. I think it's like central Alabama. It's not Rucker. What is it? Navasol.
It's
something.
Something with an N, I think.
Yeah.
2 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And it's a 10-year pipeline, right?
Well, yeah. You have to do a 10-year contract.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong, but that might not start until you finish.
No way.
That could be wrong. I could be completely wrong.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just 10 years total, including.
You'd be in for 12 years by the time you finish your commitment.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
At that point, it's just
might as well rough
20,
it out.
Yeah.
I always thought. So I never got the huge appeal to Army aviation, I guess. I always thought it'd be cool if you were like a naval aviator or Air Force pilot or something.
Yeah.
But if it ever came to helicopters, I always said that I always thought it'd be cool to be the helicopter pilot of like the Coast Guard rescue swimmers.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Air Force CSAR, the combat search and rescue, that type of flying, but also like pretty much half the time for them they just do like just kind of I don't know what their flying's like, but I thought when I wanted to do the Flight 1 officer thing, I thought 1/60th would have been sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. The I remember the first time I ever got in a helicopter was for the Best Warrior competition, and I'd never been in a Black Hawk or anything like that before, and he was like weaving in between power lines and stuff.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, what? The guy that ended up beating me by a couple points, he was like throwing up in the back. I was like, oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the first time in a helicopter is definitely weird. It's a lot, I think, bumpier of a ride than fixed wing, but I think it's really cool. I mean, I'm stuck on the route that I'm gonna do, but I mean, being a pilot would be sick.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I've been wanting to talk to you about the regional Best Warrior competition, because after that happened, I didn't really speak to you. I don't think. I think we got back from school, and I don't even think I saw you after that.
Yeah.
So what was? Because I was buddies with the guy that won mine and ended up going to regionals, but we never really spoke much about it. What was that like? Where were you?
So it was in South Carolina. I forgot the name of the camp, but it's outside of Fort Jackson. The training areas of the National Guard portion, and then Fort Jackson, they actually connect. But so in South Carolina, and there were, I think, 7 NCOs that I was competing against. I mean, let's see, Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama,
Virginia?
Not Virginia, Mississippi, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
So there were 10 of us total.
Cool.
And
10 NCOs?
10 NCOs, and then 10 lower enlisted.
Okay.
So a lot of squared away dudes. South Carolina dude ended up falling out on day one.
No way.
Yeah.
So fell out?
Yeah, we in-processed, and then that afternoon we did a PT test, and it was probably mid-80s for the PT test. It was hot that day.
Yeah.
So he fell out on the 2-mile run. He was over there. He had IVs and like
oh my
both
gosh.
arms, both legs. Not really, but they had IV on him.
Oh my gosh.
They put him in the. He was like not responding. He was kind of like grunting.
How did he get there?
I don't know. South Carolina just doesn't. It's the worst of the Carolinas, so they have lower standards. But yeah, I don't know. He told me beforehand he didn't even want to be there, so he might have been milking it a little bit. I mean, I truly believe that he was dying at the moment, but he could have been like, I'm gonna die a little bit harder today.
Yeah. A guy did that at West Point. We did the 6 mile, and we saw him later, and we were like, do you get dropped, man? And he's like,
drinking a beer.
He was like, yep, just as I planned. We were like, what do you mean? He was like, well, I said I was going to do an ankle, but I actually I pulled my hamstring.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Limp around for a few days, just kind of just really sell it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why. I think people go to those things because they think they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But just
some people just aren't meant for it.
Yeah, just don't show up. You're taking a slot away from someone.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it's a good opportunity, I guess.
For sure.
Yeah.
What so day one in process and PT test.
Yeah.
How'd you do on that? It was
PT
80s.
test?
Is probably.
I think I actually I maxed everything but the push-ups.
Push-ups are your weakness.
It's my weakness. I never really train push-ups. I mean, I do several sets of deficit push-ups, so I'll get like kettlebells and I'll do that. But that's probably even more for hypertrophy.
Yeah.
Just I'm like, man, I don't need to get the pecs bigger. But I never actually train like trying to go for as many reps as I can for push-ups, and it's on me. But I think I was the closest one to maxing it there. Everyone's run time was because we took our PT test and ROTC about 2 or 3 weeks before, and I had my best run time for probably a couple of years. It was like 12:45, and there I think I just barely maxed it, like 12, like 29 on the dot. and so it was like
You
significantly.
mean 13:29?
What did I say? Yeah,
Yeah.
13:29.
Yeah.
Just barely made it.
That's still pretty quick though.
Yeah. I think there was one guy who was faster, but I think overall I had the highest score.
Okay.
Other than that, it went downhill quickly. we had the boards directly after that, straight into the boards.
No
I didn't
way.
study. I was only studying for my college courses.
Yeah.
I didn't study for the boards at all. I think I bombed. I couldn't think of the Sergeant Major of the Army. I was like, Sergeant Major of the Army Weimer? And they said, I think I like mumbled it. And they said, what did you say? I said, Sergeant Major of the Army Weimer? and other than that, they're like, what? Oh, man. I forgot other questions. I got probably like 2 or 3 right, and I bombed like the other 10 or 12 questions. Yeah, it wasn't batting too hot.
That's funny.
Okay.
Remind me after this. I'll let you know my board experience, my first one.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man. I know. Okay, so I know we went to Charleston. We drove to Charleston. We did a 12-mile ruck in town.
Is that day 2?
I think it was day 2. I think it was day 2, and we did the 12-mile. We started over the Charleston Bridge, and
That's quick to start the 2-mile. Day 2. That's crazy.
Yeah. I could be wrong. It's either day 2 or day 3. So we finished up the first day, and they ship us to Charleston, and they're like, we're going to go to the Citadel. We're going to stay in the football stadium. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
And we ended up sleeping on the concrete ground.
No way.
No, this is definitely day 3. So I'm mixing up my days.
That's
so
fine.
we get there at like 1 or 2 a.m.
Oh my
and
gosh.
we bed down, and they're just like right outside like where they have concessions and stuff
Yeah.
like that. They're like, "Yep, you're going to sleep right
Oh
here."
my gosh.
This is
Why can't you go on the field at least?
yeah. I don't know. So we wouldn't
Jesus.
mess up the field. And so we wake up at like 3 or like 4 a.m. But we didn't start the ruck till 7 a.m. when the sun was already up.
Mhm.
And it was hot out there.
Yeah.
And we started on the Charleston Bridge, and it was just like 1 mile up.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, it felt like the longest bridge ever.
Yeah, that sounds
1
shitty.
mile up and pretty much 1 mile back down.
Uh-huh.
And then we hit a turnaround point at the bridge and did the bridge all over again.
Oh man.
And it sucked, and I was not doing good. Like, I think from the PT test. Oh, we had land nav on the second day. Okay, I'm mixing.
Okay.
This is still day 3. I'll finish with the ruck. We did the 12-mile ruck, and we just ran through Charleston, and after that we did like Gaffby stuff.
Okay.
After the 12-mile ruck in Charleston, but day 2 was land nav. I bombed land nav.
No way.
Yeah. I've been on a bad streak with land nav. Yeah, it didn't do too hot, but they did like these little fence posts that were green,
Mm-hmm.
and they were about chest height, and there was a bunch of new growth of pine trees.
Oh.
And so these green poles that were chest height, or like some were even like dick height.
Yeah.
And they had dog tags on it, so they were
Dude.
super. Everyone did really bad. Everyone did really bad on land nav. So, and there was two guys with their Ranger tabs and one SF guy, and even they were like, dude, like they're like, this is a rough start.
Jesus Christ.
12-mile ruck. I don't know. I got like 3rd or 4th out of the NCOs. I didn't, not as good as I wanted to.
Do you know what your time was?
2:20 or 2:30 or something like that. Yeah, I felt like I was from land nav and from the PT test. My legs were like jello.
Yeah.
I don't know. We ended up doing another ruck, and I think I came in 2nd
Okay.
for the NCOs. So I felt a lot better on the 7-mile ruck.
Yeah.
That was like the 4th day. But let's see, there was a lot of shooting in the competition.
Really?
A lot of shooting. There were some really good shooters, and I'm not a great shooter. So I that was kind of where I realized I'm like, dude, if I win this, someone paid the state sergeant major just paid the committee.
That's cool.
So Florida ended up winning. I think other stuff that we did was like we did a medic lane. I did good on that, and call for fire, which was on a computer. I've done call for fire simulators before, but I've never done it on a computer, and I couldn't figure out. They showed me like the target reference point on the computer, and then I scrolled the mouse and it spun me around, and then I spent probably like 5 minutes just trying to find the target reference point. And so then I had a rush towards the end. I had everything locked in, and when I wrote my numbers down, I wrote the northern grid. Like the first two numbers, I wrote a 4 instead of a 5. I had it all, or no, I wrote it down correctly, but I said like 4, 4, 5, 6 instead of 4, 5, 1, 6 or something like that. And when I sent the round, they're like, I was looking at the target, and I was like, I don't see it. So I was like a kilometer. I was like 1 kilometer off. But the guy was like, dude, your numbers were perfect. You would have been on the target if you had just not read that one number off.
Oh my gosh.
So once again, my lack of attention to detail is, I don't know, my worst enemy, but it's fine. Yeah, but my shooting, there was just the SF guy and there's a guy he was counter drug reconnaissance in Florida. He the guy from Florida won, and he was a good shooter. And all of them were great dudes.
Counter drug, you probably got to be.
Yeah. He was They were squared away. I was considering doing it again this year, but I don't know. I'm still going back and forth.
So what I've been told is, if you compete as a cadet, it wouldn't matter if you, because you were already in NCO. I would have to compete on the NCO side if I did it again.
Dude, maybe you should go for it. Maybe we could compete against each other.
I thought about it.
That'd be kind of cool.
I thought about it.
I mean, I feel like I should either do that or do Ranger Challenge. But I mean, like I got to go to France. I'm going to Reno.
Yeah.
Here at the end of the summer.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that for the guard?
Enlisted.
Really?
Enlisted National Guard Association conference.
Shit.
Yeah. So I'm going. I think I'm going with Sergeant Major Webb. That's what. He emailed me earlier today, and I have to fill out this form like by tonight.
Yeah.
So it'll get done.
Dude, that's crazy.
No, yeah. There's a lot that they looked at after us. I mean,
yeah,
it's really cool.
So everyone always shits on me because every time I go to any sort of training exercise or a ball or even that Norwegian, everyone knows my name from that competition I did like 3 years ago. And dude, I didn't even win. I got second place.
Yeah.
And I met so many people, and I still talk to those people today.
Yeah.
You know, I saw them at the ball. I saw them at the Norwegian. And I hung out with all of them, and they all remembered me. And it was insane.
Yeah, it's
probably the most connections that I've gotten throughout the Army.
It's nice. Yeah, and you don't know who's going to show up. We had this one guy. He's aviation. He ran he did his 12-mile ruck in sub 2 hours around Butner.
That's pretty good.
And I was like, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna try to go keep a sub 10-minute pace. And you know, I've been around rucking for a while, and he's in National Guard. He doesn't really do it that much. And I'm like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But no, this dude was a fucking piss missile. He was, it was one of the harder routes that I've done, and he crushed it. And I honestly thought he should have won, but it only won by 1 point for the state competition.
Yeah, so that's what I say, man. A lot of people lot of people underestimate a lot of guys in the guard, but either they're absolute studs or a lot of them are prior active.
Yeah.
So like my team leader I was telling you about,
Mm.
so the prior Marine, he's in the guard now. That dude's one of the most in shape motherfuckers I've ever met in my life because because I did my competition. Every competition that I did, he was still my team leader.
Yeah.
Because my whole career. And I was talking to him about, it was like my first 12 mile I ever did. I was like 18. And it's like, yeah, I got like 2:45 or something. And I was like bragging on him. I was like, yeah, guess what? And then he's like, dude, that's literally nothing. And I was like, oh, yeah, what's your time? He's like, my fastest 12 miles, and he's like, with a 50-pound ruck, I did it in an hour and 34 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, that's like that would be like one of the fastest times ever.
I'm like, what are you, man?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is there's definitely a lot more people in the North Carolina Guard that are more fit, can shoot better. I guess at the end of the day, it's just showing up to whatever, just showing up to the competition, showing up to the schools, and you never know.
Mm-hmm. I've met a lot of active dudes. I've met a lot of guard dudes, and a lot of them are pretty pound for pound.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are good at each thing, on both sides. There's some crazy studs that I've met in the guard just because I've had more exposure to the guard.
Yeah.
But dude, just freaking monsters out there, and some of the smartest dudes I've ever met too.
Yeah, no, I know in my unit, I can really only speak for like Charlie Med. We have a lot of way overqualified enlisted people, like a lot of people who are just nurses who are enlisted, a lot of paramedics who are enlisted, and that's rare for enlisted medics in the in active duty. We have an E5 who's a PA, and so it's like, what? Like that's crazy. But like I said before, unfortunately, we just don't have the time to train together that much.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think you'll only do one or the other, Best Warrior or Ranger Challenge, or do you think you might try to pull off both?
Well, I'm only taking 12 credit hours plus
Nice.
scuba.
Nice.
I'm doing 12 credit hours, and then I'm doing scuba class, which should be sick.
That'd be cool.
But so I don't think the load should be that bad, but I know I do want to like really lock in with ROTC this semester
with
because
OML
it is
and
my
everything.
3 year. So I really want to focus on that, and of course it's 4 year in nursing school. It's almost non-exist.
Yeah.
I won't be there
Right.
during nursing school. So I feel like I should definitely be more involved in ROTC this semester. So yeah, I'm kind of feeling it out. I won't. It starts at the battalion level for the Best Warrior competition.
Mm-hmm.
If they ask if I want to do it, I don't think I'd turn it down.
Yeah.
And then I guess I could just fill it out from there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll see you at the brigade. That would be sick.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because we'd be competing against each other then.
Yeah.
There's you'd smoke me, but that'd be pretty cool.
Dude, not a chance. I think we would be very close. Like as far as rucking, you have a better PT score than me. I watched. I was a sponsor one year. They didn't shoot, or they went to the what's the shoot the simulator.
The EST.
Yeah, they did EST. Then they had a medic lane, and that could go either way because you've done you did it at like Sandhurst, and so it depends on like how they grade it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I have more knowledge, but you can check the boxes. You could potentially check the boxes and go faster than me and do better. So you never know.
Do one of those one of the hardest med lanes I ever did was at that state competition. So
yeah.
I knew enough to get me through a regular medic lane.
Yeah.
And so there were 10 total competitors, 5 juniors, 5 enlist, or 5 NCOs, and then each person, there were 3 different assessments that you did.
Mm-hmm.
First one was like it was like a person got shot, you gotta assess it and then put a splint on it, or no, they fractured something and then you gotta put a splint on it.
Okay.
And then the second one was like heat injury, and then the third was something else. I can't remember, but
Interesting.
so
Yeah.
I passed 1 out of the 3, and then there was also, so like I said, there's 10 people, three assessments. That's 30 total.
Yeah.
Tests. Out of those 30, 3 people passed 1. That was it.
God.
And one of the junior enlisted was a medic and an EMS. He didn't pass any.
So do they have like the SF guys do your lane?
I don't think the SF dude was our grader.
Okay.
I don't even know if there's an SF dude there.
Okay.
And it was just incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
And they were just super rough graders and super just anal about our responses. I got 1 right, and it was the splint. That was it.
Well, I mean, it seems like everyone else struggled with it.
Yeah,
too,
but it was tough, but it was still cool, I guess.
Yeah, during the state competition, I was really disappointed with what they did. The entire time they kept it care under fire.
Oh.
So we had to like go over berm, drag them back, and they're like, you're under care under fire. You're under care under fire. You can't do anything else. So then we had to like low crawl with the guy, and then
Jesus.
then just I guess ended up low crawled with him back, and they're like, oh, you're still under care under fire. You gotta call a medevac, and he basically gave this is SF a guy who was grading it, and he gave us the answers for the 9 line beforehand. So everyone's at the same.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh man, I got this. I'm ready for this. But I don't know if it really made a difference. And then they asked like 5 questions at the end. So it was kind of a joke. It was just under care under fire the entire time.
That's lame.
Yeah, it was pretty lame. Yeah. I was like, all right, this is where I'm going to set myself apart. But
Did you actually take those serious, or were you just kind of like just doing it to do it?
For
just the best warrior competitions, did you just kind of show up and wing it, or?
Yeah, well,
well, you were studying a lot too.
Yeah, I studied for state. I didn't study for regional, which it was just I just had a lot more schoolwork I had to do. But I did study for state level. But I did prepare for state, and I think just being in ROTC alone, like doing Ranger Challenge PT, helped me just. Even though we didn't ruck much, I think I didn't really lose any speed or anything like that. I didn't gain any, but
because you can move with some weight.
Yeah. I mean, when you compare against like for the cadets, yeah. But I mean, once you go to a competition like that, you're like, oh man, you think you're good, and then until you're around those guys, you're like, all right, yeah, I'm not hot shit.
Yeah, dude, I totally know what you mean. Whenever we did Sandhurst, like I said, we did that awful 8 mile, worst 8 mile time and worst 8 mile route I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And I think we were so slow. I think we finished like 3 hours.
Yeah,
it was so bad. And then I remember West Point won and everything, of course.
Yeah.
And we actually won the commo lane. We won the commo lane.
Go.
We beat everyone in the commo lane. I think we had
no Legos or
no. So it was like a grid, and Harrelson was turned this way, and he was facing away from the grid. And one person would step in the grid, and if you stepped on a bomb, then the next person had to rotate out.
Oh, okay. So
and then Harrelson had to direct you on where to go.
Interesting.
It was really cool. But
yeah.
So the whole idea is that you cycle through the team several times. Harrelson gets an idea of everything that's going on, so immediately has the route down.
Yeah.
But what we did was Lamb died on the first one, so she had to rotate out with Parker. Then Parker died on like the second row, and there's like 15 rows. It's supposed to take a long time.
Right.
And then Zach was third, and Harrelson and Zach literally guessed like 13 different routes and got all of them right. The fastest time next to us was double our time. They said that we had like the fastest time they'd ever seen. It was like 4 minutes.
Yeah, so you just got lucky.
We got incredibly lucky, but
hey, it takes some luck sometimes.
It definitely does,
Yeah.
but for that ruck though, we finished like 3 hours. I asked Major Cross, like, what the hell did West Point get? What did Usma Black get? And he was like, they finished about an hour 10. I'm like, you're fucking joking.
Yeah.
You're high. It was all uphill. The first
for what?
For the 8 mile.
8 miler. Jeez.
Dude, an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Blew my mind that they did all of that. Those, by far, I'll never do that ruck again.
Yeah, I do think, and I think we talked about this, I think this year would be good to put PT first for Ranger Challenge.
For sure.
If that's something I do.
Because we didn't do that.
Yeah. I definitely, the other events are important, but we'll have to figure out a way to work that in. Who's the captain?
So it's Parker, it's Lamb, and it's Zach.
Okay, that's a good
yeah
trio right there.
So it's those three, and they're gonna lead whoever decides to join, because everybody that was in the last team quit besides those three.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're done?
Well, I got nursing school. There's no way I can fit that in.
You start this semester?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Bottom.
I don't know how Dachshund was even.
Dude, she at the comp, she was studying in between every event.
That's I would have. Yeah.
She was blowing my mind.
Yeah, that's killer.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, but I'm not doing it. She's not doing it. Koch isn't doing it. Bodwin isn't doing it. Kerrigan's done. Harrelson's gone. Strickland's gone.
Yeah, definitely losing some good fours.
Yeah.
They did Bodwin and Koch, and
they only did it for the OML. They didn't even want to go to Sanders.
Yeah, after your MS4 year, it doesn't really even matter. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I told him, I was like, I respect it. There's no way I'd do it if.
Yeah, who's left? Who's left?
Susslick.
Dude, Big Sus is a killer, man. Big Sus. Dude, what if he comes back and he's just I don't know.
He's like 7 feet tall, like 300 pounds of pure muscle.
I mean, he shows up, man.
He does show up.
That's the thing.
I gotta say, he shows up a lot more than many other threes that I know.
Yeah. Palmer's gonna be back.
Yeah, Palmer's staying, I think.
Yeah.
So, be those four, and they'll have to fill 6 other slots.
Jeez.
So, if you're in, they got half a team.
Yeah, I'll see what. All right.
I think I'll look into doing the best warrior competition at the end of the year, though.
It'd be cool.
It would be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool to compete. Yeah. I just there's a lot of opportunities that open up. I was hoping to get a school from it, but
yeah, me too. But if I won, I was hoping to get a school from it.
Yeah. I was supposed to go to Mountain Warfare School, of
course.
Dude. But the gosh darn scoliosis got the best of me.
So let's talk about that for a minute, because what was this issue that you had when you were a kid that you put on your medical that you actually told the doctor about?
Oh, so I wrote in that which I actually do, or I got diagnosed with learning disabilities, which this explains everything that I just said beforehand.
It explains the land nav and the attention to detail.
Yeah, so I have ADHD. First of all, I have it was like 4. Literally like 4 learning disabilities.
ADHD, OCD,
yeah.
LSD.
Believe it or not, I don't think autism is on there, but definitely have some social awkwardness.
You're on the spectrum.
I'm there. I'm on a different spectrum.
I'm there.
I got kicked off the spectrum. They're like, we don't know what to do with you.
You don't belong here. You need your own metric system.
Oh shit. Yeah, one was like processing. So I can, once I grasp information, I'm good. But it takes a little bit to initially process. So you can tell me something, I'll be like, I'll just stare at you blankly.
Yeah.
So something processing related. There's written verbal communication was on there.
Written verbal, like you can't read. What does that mean?
it goes into like
the processing thing.
Yeah, it kind of goes into the processing thing.
Written and verbal.
Sometimes I'll have to reread, like if I'm reading a book, like I'll have to, I'll read something and be like, what the fuck is this?
Reading and verbal. What were you good at Braille? You good at touch?
It takes me a really long time to write papers.
Yeah.
It takes me a long time, so that's sucks when I have to write a paper. But
yeah,
it is what it is. And also trying to articulate what's on my mind. So whoever's listening probably is like, what the fuck is this guy talking about right now?
Fucking retard.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it's enjoyable to listen to. Hopefully people are like, oh man, this retard's it's fun to listen to this retard. Hey, you might be laughing at me, but I'll take
it.
Yeah.
Laughs are laughs.
Yeah.
No,
where you can.
No, I don't care, dude. I may never make money off of this. I'll still do it.
Yeah,
it's fun.
So that I ended up putting in that I had learning disabilities.
No,
which
man.
I didn't put when I initially enlisted, but I did it on hand, but did it by hand when I enlisted, and the recruiter looked at it. I think beforehand, he like checked everything off. So he was like, hey, this is what you should and shouldn't put beforehand. But when I did it online, I was just checking it was like yes or no. Do you have this? Do you have this? And then you finish the yes or no questions. There's probably 100 questions that you have to go for a yes or no. And then after that, once you submit that, it locks you out.
No.
And then, so I couldn't go back. I filled out this form so many times, but I've never done it online.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I submitted it, I was locked out. Like I was allergic to fire ants as a kid. I wrote that on there. I'm like, I was allergic to fire ants. Yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh.
So dude. I think I have to get like a doctor's note for that, something like that. The douchebag physician told me I had scoliosis. The entire 7 years I was active duty. No one fucking told. Flight physical, SFAS physical. No one told me I had scoliosis, and now this little turd MD guy just tells me I have scoliosis. So I went to Raleigh. I got X-rays done, and so then for a while they never got it paid for. So now it finally they got the bill at Civ Team. And now that's getting paid off. So it's slowly but surely. Hopefully I get it figured out by the summer.
Yeah. Jesus, dude. That's hilarious. And because you wrote that stuff, you didn't get your Mountain Warfare slot, right?
Yeah. Well, I should have fucking lied. None of it really affects me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing fine in school.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I might be retarded. But I can slip through the cracks.
Oh my gosh,
as a normal person.
Because you were allergic to fire ants and had learning disabilities.
Fire ants are still getting me to this day.
That is ridiculous, man. So that'd have been your fourth badge. That'd have been airborne air assault, ESB, and your mountain. Yeah,
Bodwin went though, but I mean he said it was a really good school.
Yeah, he loved it. He sent me a ton of pictures. Apparently he had a really good time.
Yeah, I think he deserved it for sure. It's good that he was able to go. For sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can get it next year, maybe.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's the only other school they can give you besides jungle.
Scuba.
Oh, dude, would you go to scuba?
I'm doing the scuba class. I don't know, because you have to be like.
You want to get the shit beat out of you underwater?
I don't know if I'm like good enough swimmer to go. I mean, I can. I've been going to the pool about once a week. Mm-hmm. That's not going to cut it,
right?
Because but I think I would go. I mean, I failed other stuff.
Yeah,
why not? I mean, if the opportunity's there.
That's what I always say. Baldwin always made fun of me because I'd always be like, man, that sounds like a cool opportunity, and he's like, dude, you can't swim very well. I was like, I would still go.
Yeah,
I was like, they will have to fail me. I will go until I get a badge or they drop me.
For sure.
Because I failed so much shit. I remember going to what do they call it? SFRE for the
Yeah.
guard.
Mhm.
I remember doing that at like 18, thinking I was hot shit because I had won like a competition, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna show up and blow the shit out of the water. Got my ass handed to me in everything.
Yeah.
And dude, that was my first bit of failure in the Army, and I was like, but I was like, I didn't quit though. You know, they had to drop me. You know,
they kept it real out there.
oh yeah, they.
Yeah. What,
So it was.
what goes into that?
It's pretty simple to sign up. So I actually met the recruiter at the Best Warrior competition. That's how I found it.
Yeah.
So there's another connection. But I was like, hey, I really want to do this. When's your next time slot? He was like, this is when we're doing this. Just it'll be your suitor for drill. It's like, okay. And I had no idea any sort of requirements that I needed. I knew that I was kind of in shape. Yeah. And that was all I took. Because I just graduated high school. You know what I mean? Like a year before this.
That's crazy.
I had no business being there. But I was like, hey, I got a shot. You know.
I thought you had to be 20 because when I went, you had to be 21 or over to go to SFAS.
No.
You were 18?
Yeah, I was 18.
Wow. Okay.
They sent me, but maybe I didn't tell them. I don't know. I don't remember being.
Know.
I don't remember being asked how old I was, but I showed up and I was instantly hooked because I saw this dude walking around. He was a medic, and he was walking around in tennis shoes, OCP pants, rolled up blouse, and freaking bushy ass beard with just a ball cap. And I was like, this is who I want to be.
Yeah.
And so you just show up, you climb a rope. So I went and climbed the rope. It's whatever. And then you show up for your PT test, which is we did push-ups, sit-ups. And I did good on the push-ups. I did like 60 hand release, so I felt fine.
Oh, so it was hand release at that
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I felt good with that. Did 60. I'm really bad at sit-ups though, because I don't have strong hip flexors.
Interesting.
I've really weak hip flexors, so they just give out super fast, and then I'm just kind of grinding. So I got maybe like 40.
Yeah.
I didn't do crazy good, but because I had a buddy there he did like 92, blew me out of the water. But after that, you do your 5 mile, and at this point, I never ran 5 miles in under 40 minutes, but one time in my life, and it was on a treadmill. At that.
Oh, so this is kind of more like the Ranger PT test.
Kind of, yeah. And then I did my 5 mile, fucking sucking wind too.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it was in what time of year was it? It was like maybe June.
This is in the morning time, or
this was evening, so it was probably around 3:00.
Yeah, so it's like this time of the year.
Yeah.
This time of the year, evening.
Yeah, it was.
It
was steamy.
Yeah.
But we were on an airstrip, and about the first quarter of the track was like running through a dirt trail in the middle of the airway, like the airstrip that we were at. It was super weird.
Wait, you're not? Are you at Butner? Not at Butner.
No, it was someplace near Charlotte. I don't know the place, but anyway, it was near Charlotte. But like I said, I had no business being there, especially on that run. I thought I was in shape, was not.
Yeah.
Ran like a 43-minute 5 mile.
Yeah.
And I was already like, this is bad. I'm going downhill. And and then right after you finish that, you do pull-ups. I think I did like 12 pull-ups or 13 or something.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
is that for cadence?
Yeah.
It's not easy.
So it was hang. You had to hang for like 2 seconds, and then he'd give you a command to go up. You go up above your chin for like 3 seconds, and then he'd tell you to go back down.
Yeah.
So they were strict ass pull-ups, but I felt fine with 12 for how gassed I was.
Yeah.
But
after a 5 mile, I mean, even a selection is after a 2 miler. So I mean, and I don't think they were that strict with like a 2 or 3 second. I think it was like up, down.
Yeah.
Like pretty much your bar goes over.
Right.
And then they'll say like down. They're not like really playing any games. But
yeah, but So and there's a lot of Marines out there too. The Marines were cranking out some pull-ups.
Yeah, of course.
They're all good dudes though. We went and hung out in the barracks that night, or we had a land nav class first, and that was where the instructors kind of led me to the point where I thought that they were gonna be dicks. They were good dudes, but just don't fuck with them kind of guys.
Yeah.
And they're all really smart guys, real nice.
The cadre out there.
Yeah. But I really, at that point, I was like, I'm not going to mess with these guys. It's not going to be me, you know?
Yeah.
And we woke up maybe like 4 or something and had our weapons or our rubber duckies or whatever and did a full layout in the middle of the night. It was dark as shit. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
And he's just rolling around kicking our shit. And and then we put all of our stuff back together, whatever, and then it's time to eat. And dude, even if I passed the 5 mile, I was so done because right whenever I got my MRE, I ran to get my MRE. I turned back and they had ran and stolen my rubber ducky from me because I left it on the ground. Because I'd never done anything like that before. It didn't even cross my mind to bring it with me.
Yeah, it's like a stupid little rubber rifle.
Yeah.
What is it?
I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I was like, well, that's gone. I didn't see who took it. I didn't see where they went. I have no idea what happened to it. But so I immediately knew that it was over from there. But I kept trying. We showed up to the route where we did our 8 mile. And it wasn't that bad of a route. But like I said, I was just in such rough shape that I just couldn't. I was just sucking wind. I think I came in a little over 2 hours, and did that. And then what was next? And then it was land nav. So you finish the ruck, you weigh it. Our class leader failed to weigh in by like half a pound. And I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
But you do the weigh-in, and then you eat another MRE. And it was then we did land nav, which was my first time ever doing land nav with a ruck.
Yeah.
Worst thing I've ever done. It was brutal.
Sucks. Yeah.
And I remember plotting my first point.
Especially after all the things that you had just
exactly.
done.
You just done it 8 miles, like then you're doing all this other shit. But the land nav is where I almost got a do not return. I almost got DNR'd, and I passed, which it sucked.
Yeah.
But it was the first. I plotted my first point, and it was the first time I'd ever had a point longer than like 600 meters. I didn't know how long these points were.
Yeah.
No one ever told me anything about this before I showed up.
Yeah.
So I thought it was gonna be like basic training land nav, and then I showed up, and my first movement was like a click and a half, and I was like, huh. I was like, that's a mile. That's
not right.
So I measured it like 3 times. I was like, that's right. That's what it says. But and I did my movement, made it my first point, plotted my second point, and I was like, maybe this will be better. I just walked, mile or so, and then it was like 3 clicks the next time. I was like, this is fucking lame.
Yeah.
So I booked it to my next point, got that one.
So they gave you all your points out the gate?
No, so you had to get your point at the point.
Okay, gotcha.
So they were in a van, and you found them at the van, and then you just get your next one. And then plotted that. I got to my second point, and I found it. And this is what I didn't understand at the time, was that you did land nav until time ran out. You did not have to be at the start point.
True. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Most of them are time based, but the selection is for some reason it ends whenever. Once the time's done, or it doesn't matter. You don't have to be back at a certain point.
Yeah, maybe they said that, and maybe I just didn't listen. I had zero clue of that because every land nav course I've ever done, you have to be back or else your shit doesn't count.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I was rushing. We had like 4 hours. I think I had gone for two 2.5,
Mhm.
and something like that. And then I was like, well, my next point's only like a click away. It's like, it's not too far, but there's no way I can make it back in time. So I was like, I'm just gonna book it. By the time I get there, I'll have a half. Yeah. By the time I get back to the start point, I'll have a half hour before it ends. I'll be early. I'll pass because I have my 2 out of 4 points.
Yeah.
And then I'll be good. You know, I'll just pass. And then what the instructor at the second point told me, he said, you have an hour and a half remaining. Here's your next point or whatever. And I took that as I didn't have enough time. So I ran back. I ran back to the start point, and the instructor at the table was like, he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, did you find all 4? And I was like, no, I didn't. I only found 2. He's like, well, why are you here?
Yeah, his eyes, you're like quitting right now.
Exactly. And I didn't get it, what he was saying. He's like, what you're doing makes no sense. You need to go back. And I was like, huh. I was like,
at the time.
I was like, the instructor just told me that I had an hour and a half an hour ago. I was like, I don't have time. And he said, you're telling me that the E8 that told you that said you don't have time. I was like, no, Sergeant. I was like, he said I had an hour and a half. I said I didn't have time. And he was furious that I'd put words in this E8's mouth that I didn't say.
Yeah.
You know, and so he's like, get the fuck out of here, you know, go back in the woods, find your point or not. And then so I was like, whatever. So this next part was probably on me. I went like 15 meters in the woods and sat down. I just,
a little nap.
I was like,
load off.
I was like, now I'm like 2 clicks away. There's no way I make it.
Yeah.
And there's not even a point in going. And, you know, I was sitting down for the half hour. They blew the whistle. I come back out to the same guy, drop off my stuff. I'm like, hey, here you go. He's like, you still only have 2 points. Why are you here right now? I'm like losing my mind. I have no idea what's happening. And I explained my situation again, and then he gets just furious. He told the S4, or not S4, the E4 personnel that he had. He was like, write his name down. I was like, fuck, I didn't even do anything. And I went and sat down, and then we got out. Everyone came in. Everyone got bussed back. All the cadre came back. And that E8 came back, and they had called him and told him what I, quote, said that he had told me. And he was furious. Yeah. He's like, who's your fucking squad leader? Like, who do you think you are? I'm like, I'm just trying to do land nav, man. I was like, he's like, you're saying that I told you didn't have enough time? He's like, that's bullshit. I'm like, I didn't say that. Like, I didn't say that at all. And he's like, you think this E7 would lie to me? I'm like, and now I have no choice.
So, here's the thing that's foolproof. You got to tell him, I thought SF guys were cool. So, I mean, that always works for me. So,
I thought
that's where
SF
you went wrong.
Yeah, I thought SF guys were cool.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's what I should have said. Dude, he was so furious. Asking who my first line leader was, trying to get in contact with him, trying to just call me every name in the book, and just tell me I was shit at my job because he's like, what MOS are you? I was like, I'm infantry. He's like, well, you're a fucking shitty one. He's like, you think your shit would fly outside the wire? I'm like, dude, we're in North Carolina right now. What are you talking about outside the wire? And not to mention we're at peacetime. Yeah. And I was so blown away by all this. I was shell shocked. But we done that. We went to bed. We woke up, and we were pretty much done. We had to wait, and by roster number order, so I was 17, so I had to wait 3 hours to get my assessment on how I did.
What?
Yeah, I had to wait forever. But
God, what are they? Jesus.
They called me in, and they were like, we're not even gonna ask you about what happened yesterday because we've heard so much about it. I was like, what are you talking about?
Are these different people?
Yeah, so these were the guys who, one of them was the guy that I texted saying I wanted to go there, and the other guy was just another dude who ran the whole thing.
Yeah.
The other two were just cadre.
Okay.
And but these two guys were the main coordinators, and they're both E6s, just chill dudes. And they're like, we've heard so much about this that we've decided that we were going to DNR you. Have you never returned? And I was like, cool. It's like, this is bullshit, but whatever. And they're like, but before we do that, we had the E8 call us, the one that I'd apparently talked shit about, and they were like, the E8 said that he's just a kid. You give him a second shot. He didn't mean it. It's his first time. I'm like, thanks, man.
Doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Literally, look at his dumb, stupid face. But he was like, give him a second chance. So he was like, so this is the only reason that you're still here and allowed to come back is because that he gave grace to you. I was like, thank you. You're so merciful for me. And they're like, but you
then
did.
He pulled his pants down.
They're like, but you did do really bad. Like your 2 mile time or your 5 miles down. Your ruck was down. All this shit, and then I finally got out of there. But that was my SFRE story. Miserable.
So you ready to go back?
Yeah, I'd love to go back. Because I think I would blow it out of the water now.
Yeah, you it would be good. It's a different guy.
Dude, different guy.
A little matured.
I was so pissed, man.
Yeah, it's weird. When at selection, they don't really show their emotions. They maintain. They kind of just stay stoic the entire time.
Yeah.
They don't care. There's a guy who passed out during the 8 mile run. He had probably 800 meters left. He collapsed to the ground, and a cadre walked over to him and asked him. He was like, "Do you wish to continue?"
No way.
And the guy was just on the ground like.
Did he quit?
I don't know what happened. I don't think he made it through because he failed. I think he failed that event.
Do you wish to continue?
Yeah,
that is so funny.
That's all he said. And at first he was like, "No one touch him, no one touch him," because we're all running.
Yeah.
And they fall, and we kind of were like, "Oh no," and then he falls to the ground, and and he happened to be at the corner. He's like, "No one touch him." He walks up to him. "Do you wish to continue?" "Candidate, do you wish to continue?"
Oh my gosh,
they don't really wish you to they don't cheer you on. They don't
don't
yell
care
at
if you pass
you.
or anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who talk pretty sternly.
Yeah,
but they don't really. Yeah,
that was another thing that I didn't get while I was there was I thought it was kind of big boy rules while you were there. I should have known better that I was trying out for special forces. Probably should have known. It probably wasn't big boy rules. You could do whatever the fuck they tell you. Mm-hmm. But I had gum in my mouth. I didn't know you couldn't chew gum, but he told me to spit it out, and he got pretty pissed at me. Then I had gum in my mouth on 2 more occasions after that, and I just kept chewing gum.
That one's pretty tough.
Yeah, dude, he was getting so pissed at me, and I felt awful. It was the guy who gave me my assessment at the end. He was pissed. I kept chewing gum, but and then while we were doing push-ups, I was motivating the guy because I was his spotter or whatever. I was counting his reps, and it's like, come on, man, you got it. And then the same guy who got me for gum, he was like, this isn't a fucking baseball game. He's like, shut the fuck up.
Dude, that's the first time I've heard that. That's pretty amazing.
I was dying, man. I was like, this is ridiculous. Surely we can motivate each other.
Yeah. And there's also, it's like the Stanford prison experiment. Some of the guards, they didn't know whether or not who was going to be a prisoner, who was going to be a guard out the beginning. Mm-hmm. It was just randomly assigned, and then the guards ended up taking it way too seriously, went to their head, treated the prisoners like shit, who aren't really prisoners.
Right.
And I think the same thing happens for like drill sergeants.
Yeah.
It's like more of an act. Like they have to. It's like a weird power dynamic act.
Yeah.
That this other person who's a candidate or a trainee is below me.
Yeah.
And cadre have to act in this manner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to.
Just
have there's a task that they have to do. Just can they complete the task or not?
Exactly.
But I don't know. Some people just think they have to go hard, or I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
Like now when I see those videos of like the cadre, like Navy SEALs or whatever, yelling at people, saying whatever, I kind of just roll my eyes now.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It's like,
I used to think it was like, I was like, oh man, that's hard. That goes hard. But now I'm like, oh my god,
it's just so lame.
It's kind of yeah. But I mean, it's what you have to go through to pass. I mean, there will be those people out there.
That's true, because whenever I got to air assault the other day at West Point, it took me back instantly to basic training. I was like, we're getting fucked up every day. I was like, I haven't had this in 4 years. I haven't had this. I almost forgot, that this happens.
Mm-hmm.
It was insane. It was it's like a culture shock. I went from being at home in ROTC every day to getting just ruined every single morning.
Yeah.
It was a crazy experience. I just forgot that happened.
Yeah. I haven't been smoked in years. I did get smoked as an E5. We had a platoon sergeant. Yeah, we had a platoon sergeant who I think he liked me, but he also liked, like, he thought it was funny to fuck me up. 'Cause I'm just like I am how I am now. Like, I've never really been anything different.
Right.
But he was like, this dude's goofy, so I'm just gonna fuck him up. It's kind of funny.
Did you do anything wrong, or?
So I mean, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But it was nothing serious.
Yeah, that's funny. I think some people just need it.
Yeah. I definitely need it. I got fucked up quite a bit, especially as like a, private.
With your shenanigans.
Yeah, the shenanigans, man. Man, you gotta keep some shenanigans.
I agree. I think it's part of the culture. I don't think you should have a group of guys that don't do don't have some rebellious behavior.
Yeah. I mean,
you gotta have your E4 mafia.
Probably those same guys that were yelling at you in selection. They're probably acting the same way. I mean, that they might treat you how they were treated before. So that could be a factor too.
Right.
So you never know.
Yeah.
They're probably just fucking goofballs themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I get what you were saying though about the that dude that fell out 800 meters back, because right as we finished our 6 mile a couple days ago, I was pumped. I hated that route. I was glad to be done.
Yeah.
And then the instructor, who was the pacer, came out, and he was just saying that he's asking everybody how they did and everything, and he said that. So there's a turn. So you're going downhill for about a half mile. You hit a stop sign and then take a right, and it's like 30 feet that way, And we just finished the downhill, and he said right at that stop sign, someone just freaking blew out. Like, you could breathe on the stopwatch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was right there and just fell out, broke down. Called the ambulance, called the freaking police out there,
Jesus.
Called the EMS. I think 14 people dropped because of that, but that person in particular just got fucking ruined.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I was told a story by an SF guy. It was his class that he was going through in Robin Sage, the last event that you do in the Q course. And he was saying that they were in Western North Carolina, and they had to, like, I guess, take this hill with these, fake indigenous people.
Right.
And they were going up. It's basically they were going up a mountain, and they were going up. And this one dude, I guess he had some family issues going on.
Mm-hmm.
He quit while he was going up the mountain, and apparently at the very top of the hill. They had, like, I guess 800 meters to go.
Uh-huh.
400s. I don't know. And at the end of the hill is where the whole event ended.
No.
So he quit, and he had been there for 2 years or something like that.
Dude.
And all that just yeah. So
surely, why didn't they just tell him? Could they have told him?
no, it was just all of this. They don't really like. I guess they just.
I guess they don't interact with you, right?
At that point, they probably interact with you a little bit more. I couldn't tell you. I mean, I don't know.
So he just didn't make it.
Yeah, I think because he quit. If you quit at any point, you have to say like a specific like phrase, like "I do not wish to continue."
Yeah.
I think if you say that at any point through the Q course, you're out of there,
dude.
Yeah. They're like DNR.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I couldn't imagine. Yeah.
No, oh my gosh.
I guess it's easy like looking at it from the outside, but
yeah, I totally can't relate to knowing what it feels like to have that sort of family strain in that sort of a intense situation.
Yeah.
I just really feel for you, man. That's a shit sandwich.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh
yeah,
my
who knows?
gosh.
I mean, because you're not getting much food while you're out there, so he could have not been totally mentally there. Like he could have had low sugar levels or something like. He could have been completely dehydrated and just not really coherently. He wasn't there mentally.
Yeah.
I don't know his situation, but I imagine that happens plenty.
Mm-hmm.
That's
insane.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really know. Other than that, I mean, like I said, I think he had some family issues. I don't know.
Yeah. So I have a buddy in my unit, and real good dude. One of the nicest dudes I've ever met.
Yeah.
He's a crazy good dude. But I didn't know for the longest time. I've known him for years. I didn't know until a couple months ago that he went through the whole selection process, did everything, made it to Robin Sage.
Sick.
He was crushing it apparently, and then broke his foot, and apparently he could feel how his freaking bone was just overlapping, and he said that he had 2 weeks left until he was done, and that he had to drop. I felt awful.
Sometimes they'll let you stay around, like stuff like that. They'll just kind of let you stay around.
Mm-hmm.
But with a foot injury like that, it takes a long time to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God, some people make it right there. I feel like that's so common.
Yeah, my platoon sergeant, he made it through most things, and then he did his MOS course, and he got a safety violation for he was a 18 Charlie MOS course, and he messed up. He got safety drop because he put the detonator at a wrong spot.
Oh my gosh, dude!
But they're fake explosives, but they dropped him for that. But he had a 1 year return, but he ended up meeting his fiance and just didn't go back. So
damn, dude.
Never know.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I guess everything happens for a reason. My mom was trying to convince me. She's like it's so unusual and unbelievable that you failed this school. She's like, I'm convinced that it happened for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, never know. I mean, it's like I said, it doesn't this air assault school doesn't go away. It's going to be there. Hopefully you just take away like, hey, just got to strap up, get ready for CST, man. Which you'll crush. You'll do fine. But I understand. I've been in situations like that.
Yeah. It was a little shitty at first, but I was just by the end of it, I was just glad.
Yeah.
Glad that a lot of my friends made it. Unfortunately, both my roommates failed as well. They were both really good dudes. But there was a special forces chick that failed. There was a captain that failed. There was a Harvard student that failed. There was my roommate. My roommate was a Cornell.
Yeah.
He failed. Like smart dudes, you know.
It's not. It doesn't mean like. It doesn't define intelligence. It's just. You can. It's so easy. You can look over just this little like cotter pen.
Right.
It's crazy.
Now we can finally backtrack a little bit. And what was this cadre argument you had at, was it UAV school?
Oh yeah. So so kind of like, I guess, preface to the story. I went through the first phase fine. Like I was doing well. I was like third in my class out of 27. Doesn't really matter, but so like I said, I had airborne in my contract, but they told me I was going to go Gray Eagle, which is the
MQ-1B.
Exactly. And so there's a long wait time for that course, and I was studying limitations and emergency procedures.
Yeah. Don't tell me. Max altitude of 25,000 feet.
It's been so long. You're probably right on that. 25,000. Maybe. But yeah. So I was learning for that platform, and then the RQ7, the Shadow class had started, and they're like, "Oh, you have airborne in your contract. You can't go Gray Eagle. We need to throw you in this Shadow class." Which had already started. I was like, "Hey, I've been studying this other stuff. Just can I just wait till the next class?" And they're like, "No, we're going to throw you in there." So I was already behind on that on the emergency procedures and limitations. So I was bombing all of these, and it's just memorization. So I was bombing all those tests, and depending on how many you miss, it's how many copies that you have to write by hand at night on top of other homework.
Gross.
And so I was just staying up till like 2 or 1 at night to do PT at, I think PT was at 4:30 there, and so I was just I don't know, I was really struggling at that point. And we were doing simulators at that time, and I just wasn't grasping the concepts. I was just overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared I was going to fail constantly, and the instructor was like, "You need to ask more questions." So I started asking questions, and he was like, "What the fuck did we just talk about?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on right now."
You should have told him about your learning deficiencies.
I lied at that point.
Oh my gosh.
No, and so that kind of went back. He was like, "Dude, ask more questions." And then I would ask questions, make me feel like a retard. yes, it's true. Finally, he said, "You need to, dude, why aren't you asking any fucking questions?" and I was like, and what did I say? I was like,
really smart ass response.
Yeah, I was like, I had a smart ass response.
Do you have any idea what you said?
It involved the word "fuck" in it, so that didn't help.
Yeah.
So I was like, I forgot what I said. I was like, I don't know, because I don't even know. What I said. But so basically, that got pushed up to the commander. I failed the limitations emergency procedures test, and they were like, "No, we're not going to recycle him because he has an attitude." They didn't do any non-judicial punishment, no Article 15 or anything.
Thank
like
God.
That. Which that's nice, but I would have really liked to continue.
Yeah,
it would have been, at the moment, I would have liked to finish up as a UAV operator. I don't regret it now. Obviously, I don't want to fail anything, but it turned out to be a good thing overall.
Yeah, I would say the fear of failing is something else, man. Especially, I've never had a fear of failing, really on anything. I was always fine in school. I never was really scared to fail any assignment. But dude, as soon as I joined the Army, everything's go or no go.
Yeah.
Everything goes on your record. Everything's for life. Everything's drop or stay. And I never had any sort of anxious feelings until I joined the Army.
For sure.
Because all they tell you is, hey, if you don't get your gas mask on in 9 seconds, you're done.
Yeah.
You go home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I better get this fucking gas mask on, or it's my freaking career gone. And stuff like that, man. It screws with my head, and the fear of failure has kept me going in the Army, and it's also scared the shit out of me sometimes because a lot of times I don't know how to deal with it. I just pretty much compile it into my head. I'm like, I gotta do it. I gotta perform. And for that freaking that Norwegian, I had zero confidence that I could pass it. I was like, I've never rucked this far in my life.
Yeah.
I was like, I've rucked like, closest I did to this was 12. That's 6 miles less, six and a half. I ended up going an extra 2 miles, so 8 miles less because I took a wrong route.
Lynn F. Man, I've been there.
But I showed up and I was like, I can't fail. I was like, I'm here. I was like, I've shown up, and I made it by I literally made it by like a minute. But but that was the only
nick of your britches there.
Exactly. That was the only thing that made it through, but the fear of failing has kept me going.
Which one is it?
Go pick it up real quick. It's it's on the front left corner.
Front left.
Yeah, that little badge right there.
You can wear this on your dress blues.
Yeah. So that'll go on my uniform. It was gonna be paired with some air assault wings, but they'll come later.
It'll be around.
It's a pretty cool badge though. I like the I like the little infantry guy on it with his.
Was that an arrowhead? It's sort of shaped like that.
Yeah. But this is the only badge I've ever seen in my lifetime it's almost like a hierarchy system with it. So.
Oh yeah, someone was explaining. It might have been you. I think you were explaining.
Yeah. One time you have bronze, 2 times you get silver, and 5 times you get gold. Dude, if it takes 5 times for gold,
5 times.
Bronze looks enough like gold. You know what I mean?
True. I mean, that's with the GAFB. Like I had gold for everything, and then I missed my pistol shot. Like I think you have to have like 9 out of 10. I forgot how many you need, and I missed it by like half of an inch.
Oh man,
I was so bummed. I really wanted gold. But, man, yeah, you have to do 5 18-milers. I mean, you could do that. You can do that.
I don't want to.
That's fair.
Dude,
how many silver?
2. So I would just need 1 more for silver.
Yeah, why would they make gold 5? Just like make it so no one gets gold.
Yeah, dude, that route that we did was awful. It was all tank trails.
Yeah, and it's probably loose gravel.
With sinky sand and shit.
Up and down.
Yeah.
Up and down. Yeah, I've been down some of those trails back there. And
yeah.
It's not easy.
No, one dude, he'd done a couple of them before, and he was like, this is the worst one I've ever done. I was like, fuck.
Why
it's like, this is a guard, fucking National Guard Norwegian. Why is it this hard?
Yeah, why can't they just have it around Fort Bragg or in any town?
Dude, I'll do it on a track. Send me to a track.
we did the 12-mile ruck for best wear competition, like I said, in the middle of downtown Charleston. You can have a ruck anywhere, apparently. It doesn't have to be down a tank trail.
We did ours at Camp Butner, and that's
a pretty tough route too.
It was pretty hilly, but I remember whenever I got there, I was so confused on where to go. So I was driving through the tank trails with my little Maverick that I used to have.
Oh yeah.
And I was not where I needed to be at all. I was going through the lanes, like the firing lanes, with my Maverick in the middle of the night. I had no idea where to go. God.
Was there live fires or?
Thankfully, no. Not that day, at least. Yeah, I was beyond fucked. I was not where I needed to be. I think competing is fun though. I've enjoyed my time competing.
Yeah.
It's stressful as shit though sometimes.
Ready for nursing school?
I am ready for nursing school just because I'm ready for a change of pace.
Yeah.
I was super glad whenever the semester ended, and just because I was I was running myself into the dirt, really. And I was
You're not going to be working.
no,
Okay, that's
fuck
good.
no.
That's good.
But I was really glad. I watched like 30 movies in like 2 weeks, and then I got really bored, and that was actually why I started this podcast because I got so bored, and so now I got a little bit of stuff to do, but I'm just really ready to get back to school and be busy and have see friends. You know, this has been another way of keeping in touch with my buddies.
So you've been around?
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like shit. I just assumed everyone's at CST. I'm like, I haven't talked to anyone.
Oh, really?
I texted Bodwin once, and I hung out with Koch, I think the very first week out of school, but I haven't talked with anyone in ROTC.
Yeah, no, I've been here. I've been sitting down for about 2 months.
Okay. Is Zach there now?
He's there. He left on the 20th.
When does he get back? So he's with Bodwin's class?
Yeah. So him and Bodwin left on the same day, and they also come back on the same day because they're both on a CTLT.
Okay.
So Zach goes to Hawaii, Bodwin goes to Germany. They both get back on.
Sick. Yeah, dude. They're summer.
Yeah, they're gonna have a fun time.
Dude, Bodwin. So
they've been busy.
Mountain Warfare School, CST, and then Germany. That's not a bad.
That's a pretty crazy summer.
Yeah, that's good.
But they don't get back until like August 23rd or something. They get back like 2 days before the semester.
Okay. Yeah.
So they have it pretty rough.
Who gets back?
Zach and Bodwin.
Oh, I thought you were talking about CST. So,
oh, no,
you're
no.
talking about CTLT. Okay.
Yeah, but so they'll be back late August, but and I'll get back on the 10th. I'll get back the day before my birthday, and then I'll start nursing school 2 weeks later. It'll be tough, I'm sure, but I'm ready to do anything.
It's a little bit of a cushion. No, It's still pretty close turnaround, but I mean, 2 weeks you can kind of get your bearings.
Yeah, kind of. I think I'll have enough time to transition back into what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I am slightly curious. I've never done anything like that before, so I just don't really know a lot of what to expect.
Yeah.
So,
have you talked with Doxson about it much? I mean, it seems like,
yeah, I've talked a little bit about her, a little bit about it with her, but I hate talking to a lot of nursing majors about nursing school because all they ever do is like, get ready for 2 years of hell. Get ready for the worst years of your life. You'll never make it.
Very true.
Everyone fails.
I think most people pass.
And dude, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't talk to a lot of nursing majors because they don't ever try to help you. They just like to talk about how hard their life is.
True. I mean, there has to be some validity to what they're saying because a lot of them are struggling, and I guess I'll be a year behind you, but we're gonna find out for ourselves.
Yeah,
so
dude.
I think it will be very tough, but
it's for sure.
Obviously doable.
Yeah.
So
when do you take your HESI?
I have to take it. So I asked if I could. Do you have Mr. Passwater as your?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I asked him if I could take it over the summer. Like I'm studying for it right now, just because I'm like I don't have anything better to do.
Yeah.
But I can't take it till fall. I guess it has to be in a 1 year window of when you enter nursing school, right?
Yeah. So that's where I screwed up at because I didn't even know that I had to take the HESI until 2 months before I had to apply.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't take two. I couldn't take two HESIs because I made the window by like a week or two.
Jesus.
And I was really pushing it.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. I didn't know I was supposed to set it up or anything.
You applied February?
I really don't know when I applied. But I just know that I took the HESI really late, and I just that exam pissed me off, dude. I hated that exam so much.
Just kind of like a SAT or some
it
format at least?
It was just like, now I'm sounding like the other nursing majors who just bitch all the time. But they get your proctor or whatever, and he's like, show me the inside of your pockets. Show me the inside of your shirt. Turn around. He's like, show me under your desk. I was like, okay. And then show me behind your ears. like, show me the inside of your ears, show me the back of your neck, and then
Wait, are you for real?
no, he's asking me all these things. I'm being serious.
Shit.
And then he's like, show me your door, whatever room you're in. Show me your door. Show me the chair that you're sitting in. Show me underneath the chair that you're sitting in. Show me your surroundings, and it's like, ensure there's nothing on your table. And he sees my TV. He's like, put a blanket over your TV. I'm like, what is happening? I show him my door. He's like,
oh, so this is in here.
Yeah.
So he's looking at your web.
yeah.
Okay,
He's
I thought you had to take it in person.
No,
Okay.
well, you can, but
I might do that.
yeah, I probably would, because Dachshund took it online one time, and then her something went wrong and her computer fritzed out, and then that counted as her attempt, and she had to retake it. And I was like, dude, this is my one shot.
Yeah.
But I did fine. I think I got like 85 or something.
How do you schedule that? I haven't really looked into that.
Passwater would be the man to email.
Yeah.
He
He's
knows
on
it really well,
He's
but
good.
that was who I talked to. I had no idea how to do it either
Mm.
until I talked to him.
Cool.
But it was pretty simple whenever I did it. Do you think so you grew up here?
Mm.
Have you just been hanging out with like old high school buddies, or like
Yeah,
old buddies?
I have one buddy in town who's a high school buddy. I have this one buddy who's a prior Marine, who I met from chemistry. And
Nice.
we've been hanging out. Other than that, like, I've just kind of been doing just studying the Hesse a little bit, reading, just going to Wildwoods and biking.
Nice.
Um,
What are you reading?
Actually, right now I'm reading about the 10th Mountain Division.
Nice.
Their history. They have a really fascinating history.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What's the name of the book?
The Winter Army.
The Winter Army.
Yeah, I recommend it.
Yeah, I've been. I'm sorry. I'll let you go.
They were like one of the last units to actually get sent to Europe in World War II, but they still had a lot of tough fighting. It was the very last year of the war.
Okay.
But they had a lot of tough fighting. The origins is pretty fascinating too.
Yeah, that's
was,
cool.
Started by like a ski community.
Uh-huh.
Went to Congress pretty much,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, Germans have 8 divisions of mountain trained soldiers. America because it's kind of like it is today. All the divisions, there's no specialty divisions besides like airborne.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the gliders. Everything else, everyone's trained on flat land.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one National Ski Service, they went to Congress, and then they created a regiment in Washington State. Then it ended up moving to Colorado, and then they formed a whole division.
Nice.
There's a lot of like Ivy Leaguer. That was the only division that you could apply and go straight to that division,
Mm-hmm.
based on your background.
Right.
So you knew exactly where you're going, and so a lot of Ivy League people, they're in ski clubs and stuff like that, went there. They were saying there's like PFCs that they're like Harvard educated privates or sergeants.
Okay.
So it's pretty fascinating.
That's cool.
But they had a lot of turnover because they didn't go into the war. They were on like standby for such a long time, and so a lot of people were like, "Hey, I'm trying to get into the fight," and so a lot of people ended up leaving.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's cool. Yeah. Me and Bodwin actually went to the Barnes and Noble in town.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
That's where I got it from. Yeah.
And dude, they got a crazy good selection of books.
Good section.
I went and bought 3 books recently. I've talked about one on the podcast before. It's called Bad Therapy by Abigail Schreier. Really interesting book. You got to check it out.
So this is not non-military.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So
Okay.
she talks about pretty much how a lot of the younger generation is being led to believe that they're being associated with these labels, like hyperactive or ADHD or bipolar or depressed,
Yeah.
and they tend to believe these things so much, and they're reinforced by therapy, by bad therapists that are, misrepresenting their emotions whenever they could have just had a bad day. And she's pretty much just doing a deep dive in on all of these cases and all of these studies that's
really fascinating,
and it's incredible. So I learned about it through Joe Rogan's podcast, and because he talks to her for like 2 hours, and one of her books was so controversial that it got banned from like every bookstore, and so that's why I picked this one up. And dude, you gotta read it. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's a while. For me, when I was told that stuff, like diagnosed with whatever learning disabilities, I was like, oh, I can't do this and this because I have this. So I was like leaning on that, and I got to a point when I was in the military, kind of the realization that I was like, life isn't gonna change for me being fucking retarded.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to figure out. I'm not actually retarded, but I have to figure it out on like, I have to figure out a way for myself. Like I might have to put a little bit more work in, but everyone has something going on in some aspect. In a lot of ways that I'm blessed. Like some people will come from very bad, I don't know, beginnings or poverty. Who knows? I mean, I'm definitely fine. I'll be okay. So
no, I definitely agree. Like and especially a lot of the rules and regulations that the government is enforcing are just reinforcing their ideologies. They're equipping them with this crutch that they get to use everywhere, and now they get to say, I can't sit in this classroom because I have ADHD, or I can't complete this assignment because I'm depressed. My therapist told me so. I'm depressed. You know, I'm perfectly fine right now, but I'm depressed. Like they told me, and I just think it's an incredible story that she wrote that everyone should look into, because it's a real thing. It's so real to see so many people, especially in the newer generation, just being told or self-diagnosing themselves with these labels that they just think that they have. You know?
I know. In this conversation, I've said like, talked about, I have autism, blah blah blah, just whatever. I mean, it's so common to hear people saying that, and I mean, there are people who actually struggle with that, but not as much as, I don't know. And like, if you're working and if you told your boss, I can't get this done because I have ADHD.
Yeah, bye.
What if your boss would be like, well, you're not right for the job.
Exactly. And the whole pronoun game is the exact same way. I mean, you're trying to subject other people to these pronouns that they don't believe in, and then now we're trying to bend the laws and the rules and the regulations to accommodate for you when it's just not a thing. you know. So I encourage everybody to read the book, and if you need it, I have a copy, or I will buy you a copy. It's crazy good.
Sure. I mean, if you have it available, I'll definitely take it off your hands.
But I bought that one, and then Jeremy Renner. Yeah. So did you hear about the accident that he was in?
Like snowplow or something like that?
Yeah. So he got ran over by pretty much like a skid steer, and it was like a 16,000-pound skid steer, and it crushed his entire body. He broke almost every bone, and his eye popped out of his head, fractured his face, his skull, and shattered both of his legs, broke his ankles and his knees, and just ruined his life pretty much. But the book's called, I believe it's My Next Breath or My Last Breath. I think it's My Next Breath. But he just goes through the entire process and his rehabilitation. Dude, you got to hear his story.
It's good?
Dude. So I haven't had the honor to read the book yet, but I listened to a whole 3.5 hour podcast with him, and dude, it was awful.
He seems like a good dude too, so.
And what's crazy is that he had almost zero physical changes. He looks the same. He talks the same. He's running again. They said he added about 40 pounds of titanium to him, and he's like 40 pounds heavier now.
Damn.
Yeah, but he's still running. I think he was talking about getting back into action movies.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then I bought, and the one I'm most excited to read is called In Order to Live. In Order to Live.
Oh, what was that?
Cut it. Cut it. Voice crack. It's called In Order to Live by Young-Mi Park, and she was whenever she was 13, she escaped from North Korea.
Oh yeah, she was on Joe Rogan.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And you probably sense a theme here.
Yeah.
And dude, she has the most ridiculous story I've ever seen.
That was a pretty fascinating podcast.
Yeah, dude.
Interview.
I mean, she's sold into sex slavery, and she's a teenager and had to watch all these people die growing up, and was forced into slavery in China and made her way back to the U.S.
I'm glad I did not say my original. I was about to say, "Wow, she's hot too." I didn't know that whole part, so I'm glad I didn't say that. No, I said it.
Hey, no, she's hot. She is hot.
Okay,
I mean, she's very attractive.
Yeah. Good for her. Not good for her. But that probably was really terrible.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but those are the three that I have right now that I'm super pumped to read and get some knowledge on. Yeah. I just wish, and my Bible. I've been reading my Bible every day. I should be able to finish Leviticus by the time I go to CST.
Got you.
But dude, that one's that one's hard sometimes.
It's a doozy.
Well, it's just a lot of the parts are super interesting. I don't know if you're religious or no.
No, I'm not. But yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
But a lot of it's super interesting. You got the story of Joseph. I mean, he was sold as a slave and then became like he became in charge of Egypt pretty much.
Yeah.
And then story of Moses. I mean, these crazy stories that you're hearing. And then you get to the end of like Exodus, or you get to Leviticus, and it's all about, dude, it's like 40 pages of God explaining the rules of how to sacrifice animals to him. and it's like, man, I get it. And he's like, whenever someone commits a sin and they are unknowingly, or whenever they commit a sin unknowingly and they learn of their guilt, they must take an ox by the head and slaughter it and rub blood on the side of the altar and do all this, and they will take the fat and burn it as an offering, and that because it is a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And I'm like, dude, I get it. Like, it's a lot.
Hey God, they haven't really invented like pen and paper. It's not well established yet. I can't memorize all of this, dude.
Dude, it's insane. So have you ever heard of the Ark of the Covenant?
Like the Indiana Jones?
No. It's or the Ark of the Testimony, whatever they call it, and it was just it's a place where they go to meet with God pretty much.
Okay. And
he's explaining how to build it. Kind of like how to Noah he explained how to build the ark.
Yeah, that's where my mind was.
Yeah, exactly. And he gives exact directions on how to build this Ark of the Testimony.
Yeah.
And dude, I kid you not, it was maybe 20 whole pages on everything that went to the ark. Everything that went to the candlestick of the ark, all the way to the clothes of the people who were allowed in the ark. Yeah. Like, it's just insane. And I don't really need to know that. you know what I mean?
That's how I kind of feel when someone's like reading off their op word. I'm like, so what can I take away from this? What are the major?
Yeah, you skip to the summary and then we'll review. Dude, that's hilarious. I hate going over op word briefs. They're so long.
Oh yeah.
I hate giving them. More importantly, I think.
True. Yeah, I don't like talking in front of people.
Oh, so, really? So
yeah.
I remember you saying that you were shy to do this. Are you like you shy to?
Yeah, like
just public voice.
There's no way that I could hear myself talk either.
You say you can't listen to this?
I can try. I can try.
It was funny whenever me and Zach recorded our first So I had Zach as my first guest because I'd never spoken to someone for 3 hours before, and I didn't know how it was going to go. So I wanted someone that I could talk to forever with, and he's actually got like my second shortest one because he had to leave. But whenever we got done, I sent him the finished product of the video, and he was like 3 weeks later, he's like, yeah, man, I'm still listening to the one that me and you made. Like, why don't you do something else? Like, listen to any of the other ones that I've made.
Did you give him like auto tune or something so you could differentiate the voices?
That's a good idea. No, I'm super technologically challenged, so it's a miracle that I can upload any of this to YouTube. The fact that I can take it from this microphone and upload it to that computer, dude, witchcraft to me.
Well, do you know like Shane Gillis?
Yeah.
He has his podcast, Matt and Shane's Secret podcast, and they just kind of like sit in a living room.
Yeah.
And they do have like producers and stuff like that, but some of my favorite podcasts are just like chilling on a couch.
Yeah.
Like nothing too serious. There's a crappy camera, but I mean, it doesn't have to be too fancy. Yeah.
No, I agree. The one thing I've wanted since I started this is obviously it was to get people that I thought were interesting or just fun to talk to in general over here, but I would really love to get like a physics professor over here and just unravel the secrets of the universe to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, reach out to him.
I'm really curious how something like that would how that would be, because I don't know if there's any rules prohibiting that.
Yeah.
Because obviously Major Cross is probably not supposed to be in my bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and I guess for what this is the professional setting of what this podcast is, with all the equipment set up. So we're not like laying on my bed together or anything, but I just don't know. I don't know how that would be, but I can't do it on anything other than this. I don't know how to transport it to this. I just don't know. So I'd either have to find someone to help me move all of my equipment, or just have them pull up to the crib.
Jeez, I'm looking at the time now. It already says 3 hours. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
I actually might take off to here soon.
Yeah, just let me know.
But I think it would be interesting to have. I don't hear too many. You might know some, but like medical podcasts. I don't know if you looked into any of those or anyone's talking about even nursing or any stuff like that.
That would be interesting because they got some crazy stories.
Yeah.
The one person that I was really thinking about having over here was my stepdad.
Yeah.
He's been a firefighter for like 18 years, and he's got some of the craziest stories I've ever heard.
Yeah, I bet.
And just something like that, I feel like, especially for someone who's interested in that field, be awesome to have as a reference.
Yeah. I guess because like fires and you don't really hear too many stories from nurses and medical providers. I guess there is patient what's it called? We have to confidentiality. What was it?
HIPAA?
Yeah, HIPAA. Yeah, you do have to maintain HIPAA stuff, but you could just take away their names. But yeah, you don't hear too many stories from them, and you always hear a lot of like military stories. But,
yeah.
I mean, those like doctors and nurses. I mean, they're in it every single day.
Yeah, I agree.
So I feel like they don't necessarily get enough credit.
No, absolutely, I get it. Did you have to leave right now?
I don't have to really be anywhere. I'll just plan on eating here soon.
Okay. Yeah, I totally get it. Whatever. I don't want to hold you up. We can go until you're ready to go.
We can call it. I mean, I'm down the road, so I can. I know you're going to be busy during nursing school, but if you get back, want to talk again, doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, man.
Or we could get a group of us.
Yeah, I got 2 other microphones. We can make it happen.
Yeah. Have a little group.
Yeah, man.
I bet everyone's tired of hearing me talk.
Nah, man. Well, All right, we'll go ahead and call it. If you go ahead and hit the pause button over there, it's right by the record button that you just hit.
First of all, I gotta say I appreciate you having me over.
Yeah,
It's
man.
been a lot of fun. I had no idea it was 3 hours. It's actually been really sick.
Man.
I'm glad I came through.
Yeah, I've had a fun time, man. This has been something I really hope to continue, especially with people like you and just my friends in general. I've really enjoyed this, so thank you for coming.
All right, thanks, man.
All right. Yep. Bye, everybody. You hit the pause?
The red dot.
Oh, you get that.